description. If you guys are on YouTube, go to the bottom, hit the red button that says subscribe. If you guys are on Twitch, it's a purple button that says follow. Do me that favor real quick. Every single episode of this podcast is brought to you by Marco V Cigars, and I want to tell you about their 6-step process, okay? Step 1, from the seeds to the 9-foot tall tobacco plants, every step is monitored by Marco V's agricultural experts. Each tobacco leaf section produces a slightly different flavor, so leaves are harvested in small groups to precisely select the flavor of each cigar. Step 2, leaves from the part of the tobacco plant are hung. God damn it, I can't read you guys. Step 2 is the curing. Leaves from every part of the tobacco plant are hung in the Dominican and Nicaraguan curing barns, beginning the leaves transition into the brown, curled tobacco that you guys see inside of the cigar. Step 3 is the fermentation process. After the curing barns, the leaves are fermented in pylons to remove distracting taste and enhance the purity of the tobacco. The entire process can take up to a year, and that's time well spent in the pursuit of the best cigars in the world. Step 4 is the roll. Each of the cigar rollers has at least 15 years of experience, guaranteeing that your cigar was made by somebody who knows and loves this art. Quality still comes from the hands. Step 5, that's the aging process. Marco V cigars are aged for up to 5 years, allowing for flavors to blend and mature. This final process paves the way for a smooth, unique taste in every Marco V cigar. And finally, it's step 6, the smoke. At long last, the cigars are banded, packed, shipped, and arrive to you to enjoy. Celebrate your triumphs by going to Marco V Cigars and using promo code Extravaganza 15 to save yourself some money. And they always have fast and free shipping as well, you guys. Every episode of this podcast is also brought to you by Tone Vault Audio and Media. Here's the deal. Go to tone-vault.com/JSE and use promo code 15SINGER to save yourself 15% on all their audio products. With them being a sponsor of the podcast, they came in, Matt came down here, helped me rewire my entire system, so everything we're using is Tone Vault products as far as the cables go. Wired up my drum set in the other studio as well, and I couldn't be happier. The quality of these cables is absolutely top-notch. You can compare them to Mogami for a way lower price, and they of course have the same warranty as Mogami as well. So if they stop working, if they get damaged, doesn't matter, call them, they'll take care of you. Dude,
I could find you some Olympic wrestlers that are like homeless right now. Like that's not a pathway to like.
That's not what I mean, dude. What I mean is like they already had endorsements and sponsors, and
okay, they had a little leverage.
The age they were in, they already had agents and managers helping them become influencers.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. All right,
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, because like Logan Paul's big thing when he first started off was running around in public, just like randomly doing the splits in front of people. And it was fucking annoying. He was on Vine. That was like the thing that got him super famous.
Or yeah, Vine was
viral.
Anything,
not famous.
Anything goes. Like that's really what really boosted Bo Burnham. I liked Vine. I still watched like Vine comp. Well, I won't still, but as of a few years ago, because I think I've seen them all now. Like
Vine?
Every last thing, because I liked it when it was around, and then I would just watch YouTube things of like all the Vines, but the actual ones that are funny, that you know how history whittles it down to the gems.
Yeah,
like music was better in the 70s. Like, yeah, you weren't there. Like there was some real stinkers, but they didn't survive till now because nobody liked it. So Vines like that too, where like the funniest shit is what makes it into the YouTube compilations. Yeah. But I'm sure you were sifting through like, look at me, I'm handsome and doing something a little wacky. It's like, this is stupid. I hate it.
I mean, it's just like comedy too, man. I mean, fuck, dude, like. There's a lot of shitty comics out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think Rogan makes that comment all the time. Like, how many true headlining comics are there in the world? Like, maybe a few hundred?
Yeah, I think I've heard that number. It's like maybe 100. Or it depends on how big of a headliner.
Yeah, it depends on how you define headliner. But no matter how we define headliner, I think he's kind of like, maybe he's punching up or punching down that number a little bit, but I think the moral of the story is solid as fuck.
There's
just
more.
Not
I mean,
that many
there's
bonafide
probably more musical acts that would fill places the size of First Avenue around the country than there are big, huge headlining comedians. I mean,
100%. Yeah.
But then again, there's like, it's just weird. You have to actually break it down by level, and I find that to be a boring thing to talk about. So but how many are doing arenas? And then how many Elton Johns are there versus people doing it now? And how many comedians are doing that versus how many? I don't know. But like, do you count Seinfeld? He's been around for so long. But yeah, it's Is he the Elton John of, of comedy?
No, he's not gay enough.
Not at all. No.
He's not gay enough.
Or
it would be John Mulaney. Would be because
he
so
is
like,
kind of like a
show tunes. He's very show tunes.
He's very flamboyant. You know, I watched the.
He's actually a great comic though.
Mulaney's one of my favorite comics, but I've watched Rocket Man multiple times, and I haven't watched like a biopic of anybody like usually more than once. Like the Ray Charles one was really good, but I still only watched it once. The Johnny Cash one was kind of bad. The Walk the Line, I didn't like that. The fucking what was the other one?
Rocket Man one?
The Queen one I thought was bullshit and dumb. But like the Elton John one was. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I hated it.
Okay. Do you like Elton John?
Yes, I love Elton John.
Okay.
But I fucking
Rocket Man,
I hate musicals.
Okay. See, I like them. I mean, okay, let me walk that back.
Cats.
I like. I have a story about that, but I don't seek out musicals, but I like really good ones. So it's not like I'll be like, this is a musical, you'll like it. I'm like, hold on a second. No, that's not what that means. But when I see something like Little Shop of Horrors, which is a musical, which I love, and certain Disney movies, like Encanto is great. I actually watched that twice.
Encanto,
yeah, on the Disney
Encanto?
Plus.
I haven't seen it yet, but
It's fucking really good.
Dude, it took over TikTok and Instagram for like a solid 2 weeks.
Well, my thing is, I think it's as big as Frozen, except for I like the music from it instead of being like, I kind of can't stand this.
It did seem
Frozen
like...
was okay, but not... Encanto songs are kind of bops. Like, there's some really great ones on there, like, we don't talk about Bruno.
I know the songs and I've never seen the movie.
It becomes ubiquitous. Well, you know how it's like, I know every little reference to Among Us and I've never played it, just from absorbing it through memes. I've realized my meme scrolling is a weird part of
no
why...
No gods allowed in the sky.
No gods allowed in the sky. It's so great. But it helps me forget my age because I'll like make something... It's probably one of the reasons my TikTok did so well, because I would make jokes that like people who are 14 completely get, even though I'm 41. And then like my friends are like, what are you even talking about on here? I'm like, it's from this... Right, you probably don't like go to bed at night scrolling through like a curated thing of all the newest bizarre memes about everything. Like I kind of just, it helps me fall asleep because eventually my brain will go
just call them boomers and move on.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking...
What are you talking about? Fuck off, boomer.
Dude, other people who are 40 are alien to me. It's so weird.
It's hard to be around them sometimes.
Especially when they're all like just burnt out and bald and like their only personality trait has ever been sports. And then they're like, that's not enough. Oh, don't worry. Kids will help pick up the rest. There we go. And I'm like, boy, this sucks. I wish I was somewhere else.
I'm not bragging or anything, but I'm pretty sure I'm permanently stuck between 25 and 35. I don't think I've matured since then.
Well, I had a joke. I was with Jake somewhere, and he was Crooks. He was talking to his son, and Jake was like, "I feel like I'm supposed to still be 15." Like he's my age. He's like, "That's kind of where I got stuck," and I was like, "I'm almost there. I was always supposed to be 50." Like I'm not. I was too grouchy to be a teenager.
Yeah, I always felt like I had an old soul when I was young. Right,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was wise and mature more than other people my age. And now
that disappeared long before I met you.
Now that I'm approaching 40 though, I feel like I still haven't grown up. Like I'm like I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
Yeah, I actually do kind of know that feeling. Except for I do. It's just unrealistic and insane. But I do understand that feeling. I'm like, boy, I can't wait to... I think I was living with an ex or something, not at the time, but and I was probably 34 or something, and we were in an apartment, and I was like, man, I can't wait till I grow up and I could move. Wait a second. Like, the thought crossed my mind like I was in high school because I was annoyed. I felt stuck. Then I was like, wait, I can grow up and move out. Hey, we're breaking up. But yeah, like, it needed to happen.
You seem like you'd be a savage boyfriend too, though.
Oh, I'm a great husband. But yeah, I'm a fucking awful boyfriend.
Shout out to Patrick. I saw that, Patrick. I saw that. The Packers traded Devontae Adams to Vegas. I don't think John's a football fan, though, so we probably won't get into any football tonight.
Probably not, unless it's like... what is the thing from the old CKY videos where Brandon DiCamillo would make up legends of football facts and stuff? I have a weird love of sports nonsense. I don't know why that is. Like, I love the animation someone made about Doc Ellis pitching the no-hitter on LSD. It's like, I don't care about baseball, but I could watch that over and over again. And like, I like the Always Sunny where they try to beat Wade Boggs' fucking record drinking beers on an airplane. And I like the stories about like free beer night turning into a riot in the 70s at a football game, and like crazy. Like I love crazy shit. I just can't like care about anything like normal that happens, but that's the point of it. So most people would rather talk about that. Me be like, I saw this movie once where this football guy like, but it's like I don't actively dislike it. I just can't like get into it. It'd be like you could start talking about taxes and I would glaze over just as much. Be like, well, here's the thing about the new bylaw. Depending on the county seat, I just like, okay. And like, they traded this guy to this other city. I can't tell the difference. Like, all right. And it's like, you know, I do my taxes pretty creatively. I'm proud of well, I have a guy now. But so it's like, I get it. But I can't sit there and talk about it with someone for 2 hours. I would go crazy. It's like I'll have a Super Bowl party and kind of pay attention and just get drunk. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. But then someone's like, hey, do you know what's interesting about this? Like, nothing if you're me. Now let's go back outside, fuck up deep frying that turkey, and burn the neighborhood down, shall we?
What do you have going on, by the way, since we're not going to talk about sports?
Oh God, what is there to fill 5 hours?
Well, you got some shit going on. You got some music coming out again. You got some shows coming
Remember our first podcast when I was just bitching about being done with music? Like that was literally a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And I'm just laughing about it now.
Oh yeah. Well, I realized I don't
just laughing at you from the sideline.
That's fine. I don't hate doing music. I just hate being in bands. Like that's what I figured out. I'm like, I don't want to be like, okay, the drummer didn't iron his stage shirt. Can you? I'm just so. But like making it's fun. Making videos for it is fun. Making remixes for people. I mean, I think half of my income right now is actually like producing other people's music. And that did kind of get me more into it again, too. Where I was like, I realized I was having fun. I was making more money than I ever did being in a band, but I was having fun.
Right.
Like legitimately not just like, oh, cool, I can afford gas this month. It was like, I can afford gas, but also like, I'm enjoying my time. All of a sudden, it's dark out. I was working on this all day, like just whistling while I worked. And I was like, so there was just a disconnect. I realized I just hated all of the other stuff about it, but not it. And that's when I texted you and I was like, I'm going to learn how to mix and master. I should be that guy. Like, I don't want to be a guy that has to go find a new guitar player and then talk to him about, like, tone. Like, I don't care. I never cared. And I realized that was draining. And the band, it's so tough. It's expensive. You need big vans and things. It's like, I can just, like, if I'm going to ever do a live thing, which I am, which we should talk about, I guess. But I could go there in my Prius with a sampler and then maybe my laptop as a backup, be like, here, plug this in, all the low end is at the same frequency, it comes out at line level, it won't overblow, it'll all be the same song to song, just please don't turn it down because you're some weird rock and roll asshole that doesn't get rap or industrial music or whatever, so you're like, this isn't even real, look at this, I'll just turn it down because there's a lot of those out there. But I watched that happen to someone I really like a while ago, and the sound guy almost got into a fight with. Damn. That's a long story.
Who is that?
I'll tell the story. This is fun. So, me and Jake, who hang out, like we were in a band together, and then even like we have more fun as friends not being in a band.
Oh yeah.
And then, like we're like, hey, we don't have to do all this stuff. Like you just come over to my house and we'll make some beats and snort ketamine and just do whatever. And like, and that leads to all kinds of funny things. But we, Blue Felix every once in a while still goes and does a show out of town. And there was some promoter's like 50th birthday. It was a big show. It was like in South Dakota. He's like, do you want to just go with? I'm like, yeah, I'll go with. I'll do your lights. Because they have a nice light rig there, right? I kind of remembered it. But yeah, that'll be fun. And I went and like the wife went and like there was like a bunch of extra people all kind of piled in. 'Cause it's not like multiple overnight things in the bus. It was like, you can fit 23 people in here as long as no one really needs to like relax. But we went there and this rap guy that we know named Will, his rap name is Muckboy because he is a mix of African American and Native American, and apparently that is a slur for that he was always called. So he's like, "Fuck this! It's gonna be my rap name." Shouts out to Will Muckboy. He's a real good rapper. He's a cool guy, but like he got in the mix too.
Like
and
an actual cool
no,
guy.
He's actually like a
not
legitimately
not
cool guy,
type.
not a your mom's house cool guy. He has all his teeth and everything. So, but he was like rapping and doing his thing, and there was like nothing coming out of the backtrack, and people were kind of like hey, like turning around and stuff, like what are you doing? Later I went to go do lights, and so I was kind of like, hey man, like which thing is which here, whatever. And he's like, pretty he immediately was like a dickhead. He's like, it's pretty complicated, man. I don't know. It's like I could sit here and explain it to him like, I just draper at people. There's a thing in Japanese culture, like take on a fictional character's strength sometimes in situations. So it's just like, I'll figure it out on my own. And then he's like, no, man, no, I can show you. I'm sorry. I'm like, because yelling would have been a problem. Being a doormat would have been a problem. It's like, fine. And then whatever. And he's like, but it was set up like A, the whole soundboard was made of cigarette butts. B, there was 2 light boards plugged into each other, and you had to use the mouse on the computer. There weren't that many lights. Like, it was the dumbest, most redundant clusterfuck of like a thing. I kind of figured it out, but I ended up just like taking one whole light board and moving every slider up and down, and then doing it the other, and then clicking different squares. I'm like, this is I didn't have time to like sit there and fix it, but it didn't fill me with confidence. So I was sitting there doing the lights. I kind of figured it out. It worked good. It was fun. Like, Jake would yell, I'd light up the audience. I'm like, it's kind of fun. I got free booze and drugs and hang out with people. Great. But like, I'm noticing like, the guitars just like are gone, and then the vocals are just like gone, and I'm like, fuck, there's nothing. Damn it, I can't like. Because also, like, the soundboard was set up like the lights, where I was like, I couldn't even push him out of the way and be like, hey, man, if I wanted to. And I ran live sound for like 11 years at a place. So I was like, and
that's
then,
right, you did down at the garage.
Yeah, that's how I learned a lot of audio stuff. It was a good learning experience. But this dude, another hanger-on that kind of came with, who was drinking vodka at like 9 a.m. I was like, I knew where that was going. And yeah, he started getting loud with people, but he went up and just started fighting the sound guy, like verbally, like, hey, bro, like behind my back. I'm like, oh boy, because I could tell it was his voice too. I was like, oh, here it comes. And he's like, you're fucking this whole thing up, man. What the fuck are you doing? Like, oh, sweet. The sound guy starts yelling at him. He's like, I have been here for 12 hours. He's like, what, was there a show at 9 a.m? You were not, you fucking asshole. Like, they started yelling at each other.
For real, dude.
Yeah, and I just sat there like, and I went from being like,
ain't no sound guy ever showing up at 9 a.m. unless it's a national show.
He was younger than us too, and I don't know. But I was like, at first I was like, uh-oh. And then I started, when I realized how extreme it was getting, I switched into that like Ron Swanson gif where he's like, I was like, oh boy, he's going to do what I wasn't about to do, which is just get into a screaming argument with this guy. And then, but the end of the story is that it didn't end up sounding any better. But it was just like, at least this crackhead we brought with was just fighting my battles for me, like Tyler Durden. Like, he is going to yell almost nonsensical stuff at this other idiot, and it'll all just handle itself.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so that's the story with that.
So the song you're making now that you're getting ready to put out, is this the Fed Smoker song?
No, I already put that one out.
That one's already out?
That's a goof song. I've been doing goofs. the whole time. Like the
New Boot Goofing?
Yeah, I've been goof songs are fun. Like that. You're never gonna be a billionaire unless your parents were millionaires. Even if they were, baby, I don't care. The odds are still pretty slim. Going Bo Burnham with it. I've done goofs, but no, the Sacrificial Delusion is just me and Jake doing like ghost main rap and shit. I was like, I discovered there's like all this like dark evil rap music. Now everything always exists, but it's also huge. Like that's the thing that got me upon discovering like Suicide Boys and Ghostman and stuff. I was listening to it and I'm like, this is like this weird Nine Inch Nails ruckus while this guy's like fuck. I'm like, but then Jake pointed out, it's like this guy every bit of like the Myth sold out 2 nights in a row in like every city around the country, like fucking like just teenage girls with face tattoos already just lined up. Like I'm like, really? This distorted, weird, hopeless, evil, fucked up mess that I could also easily do is that popular? It's not just this random like fluke. It's like, no, there's other people in this genre. And I'm like, all right, hang on. Let's like, it was literally like, okay, well, we can do that. And then it was like a weekend later. We're like, all right, check this out. And that was like earlier on, like I've been working on a bunch of other stuff, but I'm like, that one's the first one to like come out. Like we went and shot a video in like a day. Shouts out to Alexis and Bill for helping with the camera because I had to be in the video. But yeah, like that Sacrificial Delusion is the whole point of the song too, is like kind of about what was happening, where it's like you live in this delusion that when you were a teenager, you're watching MTV and that your life is going to be like that. Like you need a band so you can be like, you know, this White Zombie video and you're going to be that popular and da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, as soon as you let that die, then you can just start actually doing whatever you want and seeing where it goes. You're no longer on this railroad going to an abandoned train depot anymore. You're like, okay, I don't know where this one goes, but I know it doesn't just go to the nowhere I know it goes to. And so the song's a little bit meta, I guess, because the song is about what we're doing by making it sort of weirdly. Yeah. And then also like we do a bunch of strippers, so we're like, hey, we could put them in the video and it'll look like we dress like idiots on purpose. Really? Like MTV raps, like stupid, like broken side kids. And then we play ourselves wearing like, you know, him and all his spikes and me in a suit to come and like kill our like the lie that we thought we'd grow up into or whatever. And like,
so the show you're doing, are you playing all the serious stuff? Or
yeah,
are you doing
that's gonna be the
shit too.
That's just gonna be the serious ones at this one. So I only got. See, that's the other thing I've liked about becoming a rapper. That's not the right way to put it, but becoming
Although
someone.
I do think you should become a rapper while you dress like that. I think it would be genius.
Oh, I'm going to actually. I have so many stupid ideas. What I want to do is, if I start doing this more, is always dress as a different sort of besuited fictional character. Like if I ever got anywhere where there's
different styles of suits.
Yeah, like come out fully in like a purple Willy Wonka outfit and do the thing where I like fall but do a somersault, or like Baron Samedi with the top hat and just like get a foam gravestone and like come out from behind it, and like, you know, or like a televangelist or like a World War II scientist with like goggles and like a waistcoat, but just always like a different. But whatever it is, I'm not dressing like a cool like kid, but it's always like a different character, like, oh, Bob Barker from fucking whatever, and they won't know what in the hell I'm doing, and it'll just be. I love weirding out kids.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to weird out kids. It's easy to weird out the adults.
Yeah, but the kids are the only one that are going to come to see it. Like, nobody who's like 45 wants to see, like some of my friends. But like, the goal is for people that just like going to shows to go, you know, someday. And like, you know, one of my favorite comments I got on my whole crazy TikTok thing was that I did post some like wedding photos over some music from Vegas because I rented out the penthouse of the Bellagio, because like, weddings are expensive. It was literally cheaper to just have it there and then stay there for a while. Like, all on paper, I was like, we could just do this. And that place is bigger. That room was bigger than my parents' house, square footage wise, because you don't count the basement. And there was like TVs in the bathroom, mirrors, you know, all 3 bathrooms. And so, but I was like taking pictures of it. I was just drunk as fuck and just like we're in like the hot tub, and some kid was like, "Did you just wait? You said you got married in Vegas. Is this someone you just met or whatever?" And some other kid was like, "No, that's like his wife. This has been going on for a long time." He's like, "Dude, I don't know. This fucking page is so weird. I never know what's real on it." And I'm like, that is the best compliment I've ever gotten. Like, some kid was like, "Dude, I don't know. He might just be making this up, and it's about fucking the war in Russia or something." Like, it's. I just loved that. But yeah, weirding out kids is fun. So just like wearing weird costumes, coming out and doing incredibly dark industrial hip hop, but just like in a sequined like 90s televangelist like TV preacher guy outfit with like a white wig on or something, and just wow in the black moon, and just my whole weird thing with all the sub drops. I'm like, what is going on? And that's what I want. I want everybody to feel like they're on drugs all the time.
I sent you that synthwave track I made, didn't I?
You've sent me a lot of things with drums and guitars. I don't know.
No, this is a fully produced pop song. It's synthwave.
I don't think you did. I think I'd remember that.
I'll play it for you.
Unless I was drunk, I might have been like, hey, I might even have responded. Now I don't remember, but
I'll play it for you after the podcast.
Okay.
But I want to create a sexual character for that, and I want to do a whole group. Like, and even if that group is just one album, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to call it a band because that kind of music isn't a band, right?
No, yeah.
But I want to create a group, and it's like I want it to be hyper sexualized and super funny. Very much in this. I love the characters. Like, I think it's cool that something changed in pop music to where, like, we don't have Madonna anymore. We don't have Elvis or Michael Jackson, where you have to, like, even if you create this character, it's like you, or Marilyn Manson, where you become that character. I love the world we live in now where you can just, like, go kiss on the bit.
Yeah.
Like, you create a character, and then in your day job or your day life, nobody has to know that that's you. Some motherfuckers, like Oliver Tree is a great example of that, too. When he's out there doing his shit, he's the one that wrote that fucking song, it goes on and on and on and on.
I have heard that.
He even says, he goes, that song's trash. He goes, that's the worst song I've ever written.
That's what, like, I love, you know, I loved when I realized that everyone that was doing that, saying that in that situation, wasn't being humble. Like, once we started doing music,
being genuine.
Yeah. They're like, no. Like, like, I always had this joke about, like, every fucking 80s song was just like, the guys are screwing around. Some producer, label guy comes in and goes, hey, guys, like, this is funny, but every time in the song where you say but, can you say, like, and fart, can you say love instead? And they're like, I guess. And then it's like their biggest song and they fucking hate it. Like, that's exactly what it's like. Like, even... You know, there's that thing where, like, Nirvana would always play Smells Like Teen Spirit all, like, weird and, like, an octave low and stuff because they were just so tired of doing it. And they weren't even that famous off that for that long before they stopped existing. They were already like, oh my God.
Shout out to Not Important commented on the YouTube page. Your goof songs are great.
Well, thank you. I will never stop doing goof songs when it moves me to, because I think that's the thing that I didn't used to like music like 20 years ago. When it's like, well, are you being serious or are you not? I'm like, can I be both?
This is a great idea in chat here. Dress like the manager of a call center for your extended car warranty.
Oh, yeah.
Or a sleazy Best Buy executive.
No, that's what, I mean, yeah, like BizCorp. But that was one, actually, that's a good call. Thinking of doing like khaki pants, like one of those ugly white, but with the little blue stripes, dress shirts that people wear with just the yellowest pit stains in it. That'll happen by itself. Just rolled up with like a tie that's not even like tied straight. Like it's just like all sweaty and tired, like Stephen Brule or something. Like it just. But then always just going out and just being like, I've been a performer for so long, I could do it. And then having the music all dialed in. He was a little like that too. And I
swear he did the suit thing, but he looked like he had just gotten off of work at a call center.
He was like
and he was disheveled, but then he'd get up there and play like fucking just like
smooth
good music,
fucking pop. Yeah, he was real good at that. And then he would get all the way down into his underwear and stuff and just be all bald and gross. I'm like, yeah, I love that.
I hate that he got me too.
Everybody did. It doesn't matter.
It sucks.
What even was his thing? Do we know?
I don't remember it, but it was like dumb. I just remember it. It was like, yeah, I guess this is fucked up what you did, but like this is something you should like pay a fine for, not end your fucking career over. You know what I mean? But hey,
no, that whole thing.
It's not like he chose to do it.
It's very funny because I kind of agree that it's like if it's something worth paying a fine for, I don't even know what, but it involves sex, perhaps that is like, yeah. But when it's something
I just meant it's like a shitty metaphor for like it's not an arrestable offense. It would be like, you know what I mean? It's like a speeding ticket. Like, you give the guy a ticket and he'd be on his way. It's not something you cuff a guy for and put him in the thing.
Okay.
Socially, with cancel culture, we only have one punishment, and it's your career is over. We need to have
that doesn't really happen anymore.
We have to have like a layer to it though, where it's like, nah, man, that's fucking like. And actually, you know what? Kind of happened. Joe Rogan, kind of got the slap on the wrist with the fine with the whole N-word thing.
But he didn't.
Canceled.
Nothing happened. No, yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. The thing that I've noticed is that only happens to people that kind of like let it happen. Like people bitch about it disproportionately because if everyone that's just been like, I don't know what that is. Like they just get to keep being president or whatever. Like, it's just like, yeah, it does. If you're just like, you're right. It was a learning experience. Be like, because like I got a swing kind of taken at me, but it was like the best because it was just like, well, I mean, he didn't. Like, it's not like he married this adult later who, like, was I supposed to? Oh, I was like a little rude later. It's like, well, I'm sorry, like, but yeah, it's like, what's the age of consent? Is it 21? Oh, it's not. 20's fine then. Well, you're kind of. Oh yeah, no, I see. All right, and I just ignored it and it went away because it's just like, and the funny thing was, it was just by people that already hated me because they were obnoxious people from my past, and I was like, please go away. Like, oh, I'll get him. You know what's hot right now? This. It's like, what has he done? Probably something is probably going to work. Well, he's kind of a dick sometimes, and he still will be. I don't think that that's illegal.
I think we're still small enough to where we can't really get canceled, but like...
Oh, I could get as big as fucking Freddie Mercury and it still wouldn't work. Because it's like,
You're saying you're like on the Joey Diaz pass, like you've canceled yourself.
It doesn't. Well, I've said things that would probably, if you were someone who was willing to kowtow to that, would maybe get it done. But I stand behind the righteousness of the stuff I said, and I know that people are just being pedantic and picking things apart. I'm like, no, I think that this is good. I'm not like, oh, I wasn't in the best headspace when I said it. No, I'm like, no, this is my opinion. Just because it's too complicated for you. See, that's what he says. He says stuff like that. It's like, well, it's true. Yeah, you're stupid. So you shouldn't be allowed to vote. That's my point. Or whatever. And it's just like, well, don't say stuff like that. I'm like, I'm going to say it again. Like but none of it, I've not broken the laws of man nor God when it comes to my relations with other people. It's like someone could be left feel like a little raw because I was just like, okay, well, this sucks. Don't talk to me anymore. It's like, you can't act like that. I'm like, I can. It's not illegal. And that's the thing. Like, there are people who have broken both the laws of man and God who I'm like, maybe lay low for a while.
Bro.
But I haven't. I could become the next big thing. Never gonna ever happen. But it wouldn't matter because they'd be like, well, sometimes he says stuff. I'm like, I could still be president.
So speaking of, it's not illegal, right? We're all pretty familiar with American First Amendment rights and some of the weird shit that's gone down with jokes in other countries like Canada and shit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck that. We don't need to rehash that. That's been done a million times on every other podcast. But here's something new that just happened that most people don't know about. There's a fucking 15-year-old kid. Actually, he might have only been 12, but I'm just going to say he's 15. Was arrested in Russia for guess what?
Doesn't take much there.
In Minecraft, the video game.
Oh, boy.
They were going to rebuild the Russian fucking, their version of like the Pentagon.
Is that the Kremlin or is there a different thing?
The Kremlin, I think, is like their White House.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but this
just
thing is like,
saying it.
I know, right?
The Kremlin will hear of this.
Sounds like a fucking, sounds like a sea
The Kremlin
creature.
will hear of your treachery, comrade.
But these in the video game, these kids wanted to build a replica,
of like some
of
government
their version
building,
of the,
big,
and then they were gonna blow it up in the video game. The Russian government arrested these kids for planning an act of terrorism.
They've arrested people for less than that, particularly recently.
That shit's insane, yo.
No, that's when people are like, things are hard here. It's like, yeah, are they? Like, I mean, like Russia's not cool, like at all. Which is that's my favorite thing. Are the same people who are like in like the trucking convoy and stuff are like oh yeah, like some of those same people who are fighting the tyranny of trying to make things better for everyone. And then they'll go on the other side of their mouth and be like, I think Vladimir Putin's cool. I'm like, oh, your bullshit wouldn't fly at all over there. Like, that guy would have you hanging upside down in a basement somewhere. Like, that's like, I won't even point out the hypocrisy, the hilarious articles that are so snide about that. They're protesting the now mostly already lifted mandate. Like, they're just out there wasting gas and bitching about how much it is.
You're not the biggest fan of Elon Musk, right?
I'm not
like you don't hate him, but you're not the biggest fan of him.
I'm not a fan of him. You know who I don't like? People who think he's awesome. That I can't deal with. I
think he's awesome, but I also don't worship him. Like, and I think that's what you're really getting.
Yeah, I mean that's worship.
People were like, he can do no wrong. That's kind of what you're.
Yeah,
about,
he
right?
did. He stepped on everyone on his way up, and everyone's like, he's a genius. Like, you realize he paid to have them say that he invented this when he bought the company, right? He's like that kind of shit. I mean, okay, is that genius on an evil? Like, I don't like Trump, but I appreciate some of the stuff he did level of just fuckery. Like, yeah. But people who look up to him aren't assholes like me who look up to people like Joseph Stalin really figured something out when he abolished church. Right. Like, that's like, dude, that's cool isn't like, oh, I'd like to know that guy or live there or do that here. But, so it's like me going, Elon Musk, that was pretty smart the way he railroaded those people and used slave money to pretend he was smart. Dude, like, yeah, that's great.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Yeah, but I don't look up to him for, like, any of the things that people look up to him for, like the good things.
It's getting worse, dude.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are like, oh, Elon for president. Well, first of all, he's not an American citizen, so he can't run. Or even if he is a citizen, he's not naturally born here, so he can't ever be president.
That's why Schwarzenegger couldn't do it.
But regardless,
he would have been a good Republican president.
He probably would have been. But Elon is reckless. He challenged Putin to single combat, and the stakes are Ukraine. Yeah. Like, dude, you can't.
But did he just say that on Twitter?
I mean,
that's not a real thing. That's just like, hey,
it's enough.
I know that I'm never going to wrestle Vladimir Putin, so guess what I'm going to say on Twitter?
It's enough, dude. It's enough.
Yeah, we can't have a president that just says insane stuff on Twitter that's not real. That would be probably a disaster.
It's almost like we've been through that once or twice.
Like, I like that Kim Jong-il guy. It's like,
and now he's in a Twitter war. It's weird that we're saying war, but he's in a Twitter war with fucking the Chechnyan fucking warlord or dictator or whoever the fuck's running Chechnya. Now he's in a fucking spat with him too, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I want the first person to be. I think if Elon Musk became the first person to ever actually get killed for running his mouth on Twitter by like a Stinger missile into like a yacht, like it was like so it's not even like random, like, oh, we were just sinking American yachts. It's just like, oh, we knew that motherfucker was on there. He said all these things on Twitter. We know we commit crime in international waters, but good luck finding us.
It's not even that. It wouldn't even be that dramatic. They would just rub some shit on the doorknob of your fucking hotel room.
Yeah, but
door.
I want it to be that dramatic.
Right,
I want him to have not
Burr
even
joke.
gone to like one of the places where he talks shit about warlords or whatever. Like, I want him just to be like, oh yeah, it's safe in the Gulf or whatever, and it's like, yeah, these guys kind of just geotagged your thing and they're not supposed to be here shooting Stinger missiles at things.
They
but
found you in Chicago.
They decided it was worth the American government sending them all to Guantanamo Bay or sinking their whatever they attacked them with from a satellite bomb. But like they just couldn't take it. They're like, you run his mouth, I blow him up.
Yeah, dude, the internet is a fucking wild place nowadays, man. It's always been wild, but nowadays it's.
I miss the old internet. It's too monetized and structured, and the things outside of that are so small and aimless, and like
that's what I do agree with as far as what I miss about it is like it used to be more free. Like you used to be able to kind of do whatever you wanted. It
happened way before it was able to be like legislated, or they were so behind. So again, when we joke about it, it's like I saw my first beheading video when I was 12. Like that kind of shit was just like everywhere, just unrestricted access to just the weirdest shit, and like people would get. That's the other regret. Like people would get so famous on the internet when there was no like, Hollywood machine managers. Like we're gonna make these kids the next big thing. It's like. Well, I put funny stuff out there. It's like, yeah, you don't have millions of dollars. Get out of here. Like, there was a time. And it was like longer than you even remember. It's like, there's probably like 15 years where if you were really ahead of the game, you could cheat.
It's really only been about
leave your class.
It's really only been about 10 to 12 years where motherfuckers have actually monetized just being on the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
Like before that, I mean, even when Joe Rogan talks about he's on like his 11th year. You know what I mean? Like, think about how long podcasts and Rogan and Mark Maron have been around, and they started around 2010. Like, that is not that long ago.
No, I know.
But there's just like you said, there's an entire generation of kids who think this is just how it's always been. They just don't even have the ability to realize.
We realize that YouTube started in 2004. So, like, the age of people that don't remember a time before you could just go look at look that, live performance up for that singer. Like, I want to see that real quick. Or what was that thing that happened on the Super Bowl that one time? That you could just do that instead of being like vaguely trying to remember. It's like, hey, I taped over part of our wedding video with this sports blooper thing, and then here's a guy, basketball goes in his pants. Look, like that, you had to go find it. Like, oh, I guess we threw that away. And then it was gone. Like, that was it. And then, there's people who can like vote.
It was like mostly cat videos.
Well, it was also everything illegally. Like, I sat and watched all of Pulp Fiction on it once.
Really?
On my, like, computer on tour. Yeah, my shitty, like, PC laptop I had was just good enough on the internet where it was
before it was bought by Google and they were
2005 or 6. I would just watch entire movies and stuff. Like, just somebody uploaded it. Like, there it is. And when I was bored, I was like, cool, let's just do this.
That actually was still a thing up to like 2014, 2015, 2016, but they had gotten to the point where you had to watch it in like 7 or 8 minute clips, and they'd have a whole movie broken down into like 20 parts.
Yeah, you could still kind of do that.
Yeah. But now it's like it's all fucking gone. Now you get DMCA strikes if you play your own music.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Like that's the one thing that pisses me off is I need to be able to preemptively submit music. So like you want to play your song tonight, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetically, you want to play your song, you're coming on the podcast, you send me a copy of the song. I should be able to upload that to YouTube with or without a release saying I have permission to play this song from my guest tonight. Don't flag me. And if you do flag me, I should be able to automatically enter into a dispute or an arbitration so you don't demonetize me for the 30 days.
Yeah.
The first 30 days the video's out. But they still haven't done that. So it's like, what the fuck? Man?
At the very least, I've set all my shit up for like, I don't care. Like I've set it all up for like, you could just like repost this and say it was you. I don't give a shit because at the how far our backs against the wall from coming from generations of poverty and still thinking we could be like, we're going to make money as artists. Like, that's for rich people's kids to do, not you. You go to work. But so I'm like, on the off chance that somebody steals it that's actually like influential, I'll deal with it then.
Right.
Like, I'm like, for now, but then I'm like, yeah, really, I'm not like, oh, I want that 3 cents so bad that I can't show my new YouTube music video, this song on Jared's thing because like, oh, it's all tangled up. Everything on like the song distribution and stuff is just like, yeah, give me the penny for 12 billion streams. I don't care. But let anybody, like, it's all the most open copyright. Like, I don't care. Like, if someone re-records it and says it's theirs, we'll have a problem, but that's as deep as it goes. Like, otherwise, it's like, yeah, put the video up on some other thing. I don't give a shit.
Have you ever thought, because you have plenty enough TikTok followers, and you mentioned earlier you're getting a little burnt out on, like, the intense fucking rigorous content uploading. And
it's like I got tired of having to do, it's like I got far with it, but doing it every day sucks.
Have you ever thought of just tripoding your cell phone behind you while you're on your fucking stand-up arcade game and just streaming while you game retro games?
I thought about that, actually, yes.
Because that shit is huge.
But I would still have to do a couple of things so that it actually, because it's just, I don't know how it's set up in like a Raspberry Pi. I guess my now brother-in-law is the one that set that up, so he's busy. But
I'm not talking about sharing the screen and doing it professionally. I'm talking about literally using your cell phone and TikTok living with it over your shoulder. Like, put it on a tripod behind you and stand there and fucking game and just capture the screen.
Would people put up with that? Because I tried
100%.
I tried doing that on Instagram once, and people are like, you can't even see the screen right because it's all, cell
there's
phone.
a glare and shit. Yeah, you'll get fucked up if there's a glare. But dude, 100% certain people will do it. People watch fucking our boy Joey Moya, Sweaty Pedals. People watch him on People watch him on TikTok, and you can barely see his screen on his TikTok. So he's doing it for real professionally on Twitch. That's the whole deal. And then his cell phone is sitting off to the side on TikTok.
It's like a side.
Yeah.
Well, when I was more active too, I thought about even doing that here, for example. Like, it'd be like Greg's thing, or like, just bring it in and just be like, this is just going to go on my TikTok live too. But it's also so easy to get just kicked off of there. Like, I've gotten in trouble for since I gave up on that too, because you can't even sit and talk about stuff that's inappropriate, or they'll take you down. And that's where it's like, okay, my brand of funny, like, can go for a little while before anything too weird happens. But it's like, out of the 7 billion people on Earth, if you're going to sit and stare at something I'm doing, it's because I'm really good at telling the truth about something that we all get, but no one says. And it's usually gross and fucked up, and that's why no one says it. But it's not just gross for no reason. It's definitely like, and because we've all gotten a boner for that, and everyone's like, actually, we all have. That's very funny. And then the stream comes down, and it's like, well, there's people who are good at being sort of interesting without doing that at all. Let's go watch them. Because without that, I'm kind of like, I'm this old guy that's just I'm gross and full of shit. That's funny. And it's like, literally the draw is what gets you kicked off. So that's part of the reason I got burnt out too, because when I restarted it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this without getting a single thing taken down, and it still will randomly happen. So it's like, the cleaner your slate, the better your growth is.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's people reporting?
Sometimes it's people, because I am kind of antagonistic, and the problem is there's no way around that either. Though the thing that sucks about that is that you could be like, I'm just a hot girl that dances. It's like, oh, you don't think she's going to get mass reported by everyone that wants to fuck her and can't? Like, fucking women are always like a bunch of incels just get together, and just, so it's like, the most wholesome thing you can do will still piss somebody off.
That's what I don't understand about any of these fucking platforms, dude.
Well, because they're controlled by 12-year-olds as a democracy.
Well, on
remember
TikTok,
how Lord of the Flies went? It's like that.
True, fair.
It went poorly.
On TikTok, there's girls. There's like these weird coffee shops popping up around the country where it's like a shack. It's not a real, true, full-size brick and mortar. Maybe it's even like a trailer, right? Like a food truck almost.
Yeah.
Very, very small. There's one girl in there, and she's essentially naked. She's got a bra and panties on, and that's fucking it.
Right.
And dudes come up and order coffee and like have conversations with her. And then she's also on TikTok. And it's fucking, I'm like, this is fucking wrong. Like, this is fucking weird and creepy. And especially for the internet, because you don't know if it's a 12-year-old kid watching, whatever. However, you make a dick joke, banned, right? Your video gets taken down. They can do that. On Twitter, it's even more egregious. You can't say X, Y, or Z or talk about X, Y, or Z. Fucking Weinstein gets fucking banned for creating the Unity Party, which is like an awesome idea. But there's porn. There's actual porn on Twitter. Like, it makes no fucking sense to me, dude. Right, and that's what I was
all it is.
It's about the money. It's about the money.
Because it's like, yeah, well, porn's inappropriate too. It's like, yeah, well, if we get rid of that, we don't exist. But if we get rid of you and your fucking running your fat 40-year-old mouth, we're still going to be fine. That's all it is. There's no mystery here.
Don't you ever talk about my mouth that way, you son
Well, I was
of a
referring
bitch.
to Mike, because you're not 40. I get to pull that card myself.
I know.
But they don't even, it's like, no matter how funny people think us screaming about our dicks is, it's like, well, that's someone could complain, so we could take that down. It's like, what about the porno? It's like, well, that's just this monolith that keeps us propped up, so we're not doing anything about that. And as long as we never start, remember when OnlyFans was almost like, we're gonna get rid of the porno, and they're like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that was fucking wild.
They were like lying to themselves or their shareholders or whoever about. Because it's like they know, but
it came down to one very simple thing, and I can't believe I actually happen to know
kill
about
the
this.
Batman.
It's credit card processing. It was
that's who was bitching.
Yeah, the credit card company. Because when I did credit card processing, I worked for one of those companies for a while. One of their biggest clients way back in the day was a porn site.
Of course,
but two things will get you flagged by Visa, MasterCard faster than anything else: porn and small transactions.
Yes.
So like they hate $5 and $10 transactions. They fucking hate them. The only reason Holiday and SA get away with them is because of overall dollar volume that they do over the course of a month. Because they do so many small tickets, it becomes irrelevant.
Yes.
But if like you ran a company and you're selling widgets on the internet for $4.99, you're gonna have a very fucking hard time getting approved for credit cards. You'll do PayPal and Square until you hit like 10 grand a month in revenue.
Yeah,
and then you have to get a real merchant account, and you will have a fucking bitch of a time getting approved because your transaction size is too small. So between that, and that's what I'm getting at is like Pornhub and OnlyFans.
Yeah, they're all these zillions small, of tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's and if people are like, that doesn't make any sense, money's money. It's it has to do with money laundering. That's why it has literally to do with money laundering and funding terrorism. Yep.
Lots of things do. Well, I made that video explaining NFTs a while ago where I'm like, here's how you launder. I think you commented on it. You're like, that's what old art was for, too. I'm like, that's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Is that because my reply was like, yeah, but it's not fun. Like, where's the wine mixer and snobby rich people just be like, oh, I love it. It's like, I would love to be a part of that world. But then just like, oh, we're just making monkey pictures and then just like using cryptocurrency to like,
yeah, those versions of NFTs
that's boring.
Those versions of NFTs where it's like, yeah, I created an NFT and it's like a dancing clown GIF. I'm like, that's not an NFT.
Well, it can be. The back of house is what makes it an NFT or not.
True.
That technology is eventually going to be where I don't get to commit my favorite crime anymore, fraud. Like I won't go into it, but it's like Photoshop and a Xerox machine because of how goddamn outdated things like, oh, I don't know, the DMV, a bunch of stuff are in this country could still get you pretty far. Eventually, that will be impossible. And it'll be because of that.
Do you know who Beeple is?
Oh, I've heard that. What is that? I don't know.
He's amazing. He's on Instagram, and he's the guy who does a piece of art every day. So every single day for like the last 10 years, he's dropped a piece of art. And a lot of times they're animated because they're it's not just him drawing shit, it's CGI stuff. So sometimes it's 3D animations, whatever.
Yeah.
They're fucking amazing. My favorite one was I think it was a giant baby walking through the streets with Donald Trump's head and Hillary Clinton in its belly.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
So it's weird 3D rendered.
Yeah. I mean,
cinema
that's just
4D animation stuff.
His name's Beeple.
I've seen a bunch of his stuff.
He started taking an entire quarter of his year, so the spring, summer, fall, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he releases them in NFT form. So it's like, this is the Beeple Spring Collection of 2021. And then when you buy that NFT, you get the digital download card where you have all that, but then you also get like a physical box that it comes in, and he gives you like a hologram that's Elon Musk with the Hulk's body.
And
like it was on Rogan and shit. So there's cool ways people and legit ways people are doing NFTs, but I agree with you 100%, man. The way most of these motherfuckers are doing them, it's hilariously stupid because there's nothing special or unique about them. It's literally just a cash grab. And I can't believe anybody.
I love a good cash grab though. I was like,
who's buying this shit though?
I won't say super early, but early enough on Bitcoin where when I got out, I was like, go buy it. Like you didn't hear me just explain any of that. But I love stuff like that, but that's the interesting thing is just how people get so obsessive with the wrong part of it. Like where it's just like, well, this is stupid. I'm like, everything's stupid. Everything is for money and everything's dumb. We know.
That's a great point.
But like the fascinating thing is just the blockchain stuff. Not on I can't sit there and explain it like some autistic person, but I just mean that like it's interesting because of the way it will validate stuff as real or not eventually will be real interesting.
Shout out to Luca in chat. He says all those underwear coffee joints, they're all in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I was going to say either that or Singapore.
Feminism.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
technically, I guess it's female empowerment.
Everything can be. See, when people want to bitch about things I've done in the past, where I'm just like, it's, I have a lot of game, and even beyond what falls out of the sky because I was in bands forever. And a big part of that was always just like, you're right, I've never thought about it like that. I really trust you. And just making people feel okay with doing things that are at the end very fun for me, but it's empowering. It's not degrading.
Butt stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of it. But there is sort of to me, it's a hilarious thing. The line between like, well, is this unscrupulous or gross, or is it actually empowering, or is it not? Because you got to pick. If you're going to have morals, which I don't, you got to pick where you're going to stand. Like, you have to choose. Like, is this empowering or is it gross? Which, by the way, good game show idea. Let's do that. But
empowering or disgusting?
Empowering or gross. And the joke is it all can be either. It's just Schrodinger's gangbang.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah. It's just like, well, if you're choosing to do any of this stuff that on the surface is horrifying, but it's like, well, did that guy trick you or was it your idea? I'm like, were you talking to John Wheeler? Yes.
Then you were
We're
tricked.
never going to know. But you were tricked.
You were duped hard.
But also, are you a better person now? It's like, yes. Because now you have the strength and
so
agency.
The duping was worth it.
Yeah. But is it really a trick if everyone's like super into it? And that's the weird thing. But yeah, I am of the mind of like, do whatever you want. Like, Earth is hell. There's no rules. Like, that's just this is how it is. Like whatever this is fucking dumb. And like, if you're, I disagree with like hurting other people, but I don't even really think you have to in the vein of do whatever you want. Just get square with what you really want, what you don't. Like, what's out of spite? Like, again, are you protesting something that I've already got over just because you like driving in your big truck? Well, drive around in your big truck and be an idiot. That's fucking fine. But, be honest. Be honest about what you're doing. You'd be like, yeah, I just want everyone to look. Be like, yeah, I'm fighting tyranny. It's like, the Ukraine, don't go bringing that up again. That just makes me look stupid. I'm tired of hearing about it. Well, yeah, I'm going to bring it up a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think the coffee shop thing's great. Knock yourself out. I only would think it was bad if like some awful, weird, fat pervert just owned it and was kind of like not paying everyone enough to be involved or whatever. But if like the naked women own the coffee shop and the internet connection, like, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to go because I don't need to spend my time or money doing that. But I don't care if other people do it. But I mean, how many mass shootings committed by incels do we want in this country? We should really be giving these people options. like, no more prostitution, no more nudity. It's like, well, no one's ever going to talk to these guys, so you got to give them something.
If I leave it up to you, you'll be giving tax rebates for those professional cuddlers.
Yeah. You're like, bad mental health leads to everything bad. Like, if someone just loved Putin for who he was.
Have you seen those professional cuddlers?
I think I heard about that, and
it's for exactly what you're talking about. It's for actual incels. So it's like beautiful women. Usually they're beautiful women, not always.
Sure.
But they're usually beautiful women, and there's no sex involved, but it is essentially prostitution without any actual sex or penetration because it's just straight up cuddling, but it's a literal monetized intimacy. That's literally what it is. And these motherfuckers, sometimes these girls hold them and they just weep.
Yeah.
These dudes just weep.
Dude, listen, I've hooked up with a lot of like young girls that did like of age, but that were doing like Craigslist hand jobs and stuff. So they'd tell me all this stuff. It was like, and that's a whole side story.
Craigslist hand jobs.
Oh, all that kind of shit. I won't get into it, but it is like they'd be like they look like a European ballerina, but like guys are like, oh, you do that? I'm like, oh, I don't care. Like, I'll go in there. Yeah. And then they'll just sit there and tell me all these things, and they're like, yeah, half of it is for sure gross sex. Don't let some uppity girl tell you it's really not about that. It is, but literally half of it isn't. Half of it is just people are lonely. Like, the cuddler thing is just whenever you hang out with a prostitute and they tell you stuff and they talk about how many guys just need someone to talk to or someone to hold them for once, for God's sake, and they just want to cry. That is not surprising to me at all, and we should probably be like, encouraging that, because
I thought you were going to say forcing it.
no, it's just you don't have to. All you have to do is encourage that.
You just got to let them pay for it.
There's money to be made, and there's weirdos that are going to go for it. So it's like no one needs to force anyone to do shit there.
I mean, it's a very libertarian perspective, but it's true.
God.
We just got to get out of the way. We just get the government out of the way and allow hookers to hook and allow cuddlers to cuddle.
Yeah, and we'll build our own roads and make sharp sticks to. Let's not.
We
even go
already
down
build our own roads. Didn't we have that conversation last time? The fucking libertarians are so stupid the anti-libertarian argument is so stupid when they go, well, how would we build the roads? Here's the thing. The actual city, the actual government doesn't build any of the roads. They take your tax dollars and then they collectively bargain with multiple private companies, and then these companies bid, and then they hire a private so private companies are building all the roads and bridges.
Form a group and collectively bargain to get a fucking road built. I don't have time for all that shit. So the fucking government's for. And no matter which idiot you vote for, someone builds the roads. I'm like, well, we might not have roads anymore if we make this choice, or well, we have to do it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Libertarianism is the dumbest goddamn thing in the world. If anyone is like, I'm a libertarian, it's like, cool, give me your clothes, your boots and your motorcycle, that gun that someone else, but well, I paid them to make it. And it's like, well, what if they didn't want to do that? And it's like, well, someone else would. It's like, yeah, well, what if like that just wasn't a thing? Or what if they were like, hey, we don't like you.
That's definitely
your money's no good here. You rely
that is not what libertarianism
yes, it is. You rely on every single other person on this planet to make sure that you're not dying of dysentery at 14 living in the woods. Like, that's what it is. Libertarianism is exactly like those people
extreme libertarianism. That's basically anarchy is what you're talking about.
No, it's people going like, we don't need this, we don't need that. I'm like, okay, go into the woods naked. Have fun. Banishment was a death sentence. It actually still would be, but you can just go to Wisconsin. But if there was no Wisconsin to go to, you just be like, go live in the woods. You're going to die in like a month. Generously. It is so stupid. We have
not what
a society that's built on other people. Like, money isn't real, but it is like the handshake between the person that knows how to build guns and the guy that buys them that for some reason gets paid to process credit card number. What the hell is that? Like, that's not a thing. So it's just like, okay, all of this garbage that you're like, hey, we need this to happen would be gone. It's just such a weird, it's like, I don't want the government telling us what to do, but the problem is propaganda works so well that the Overton window is just in the toilet and it's never coming out. And like,
for people,
all these people no longer represent us.
Slow down. For people that don't know what the Overton window is, explain it to them.
The Overton window is like the middle moves, basically. So when you're like, all of our Democratic presidents look more like European right-wing people because we're shifted so insanely far to the right that people like Bernie Sanders seem extremist when he would just be like a normal Democrat anywhere else. Like, and then people are like, oh yeah, like Reagan would be like, no, he's like closer to Kim Jong-il. Like, it's very, that's probably not the best example, but it's this thing where you keep meeting people in the middle and it keeps sliding over. And it's this weird ideological government political shift.
You might actually be right, but I don't think that's the best way to explain it.
It's probably not.
The easiest way to explain it is the Overton window is what is currently socially accepted. So, for example,
that's not the definition of that.
I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Let me.
We'll
look it up here
from a political standpoint.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Perhaps
because it's socially, not politically. So here's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
So this is my understanding of the Overton window is like 50 years ago.
Yeah,
the Overton window we dictated, we put the Overton window that it wasn't socially acceptable to be gay. But the Overton window is shifted now to where it's socially acceptable to be gay.
There is two. I watched a whole video about how there's the social one and the political one.
Got you. Okay.
That's what you're talking about.
Okay.
And they do tend to, like, when the social thing goes one way, the other goes the other way.
I'm going to look it up just to be safe because I don't want either one of us to look like assholes.
No, we do. But it's the fun part of it is I did watch someone break down.
Nope, you're right. It's literally either political or social, but it's exactly that. It's the Overton window is the range of policies politically or socially acceptable to the mainstream population at any given time. It is also known as the window of discourse.
Right, and that's the fascinating. And not to, I mean, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
They do overlap because of like racism and shit like that.
Well, the interesting thing is historically, I was watching this. God, I wish I remember this guy. He's like kind of this kind of this rednecky guy, but he explains like really, really complex, like philosophical and political things like really well. So I feel bad that I can't remember his name. I was just looking at him a while ago, but he was explaining that is why the government seems so crazily right-wing right now in a broad sense, is because so many things are socially progressive in the world that it's like, that it kicks it. It's like, yeah, we're trying to burn these books and make it so black people can't vote. Like, it's getting weird. But he did make the point. It's like, the progressives do always win. Like, no one goes back in time. Like, It never happens. But what you witness sometimes is 2 whole generations worth of the death throes of some old ideology, and it gets ugly. But it does balance out. But I guess right, when I just casually said the Overton window being in the toilet, because people, my point with that is that people don't vote. So they're like, the government's this other thing that tells me what to do. And no, it isn't. It's like, they're supposed to do what you want, but you don't know who anyone in your local government even is. You don't vote in local shit. Here, well, that's why here's so fucking weird. Like, other places are like, we don't want to pay for college. It's like, well, how are you going to vote? For the guy that'll make that like, okay. And then that's what happens. Like, here it's like, why are they telling me what to do? It's like, well, because more people live in cities than live like on a dirt road somewhere. So like, yeah, I'm sorry that like we allow black people to vote and that makes you mad and the government's just forcing it on everybody. But it's like, to me, that's always been the birthplace of libertarianism. It's like, well, the government's this other thing for other people. Well, then vote and also learn. And like our local government, are you in Ward 4? Are we all in that? Is that where we live?
I thought it was 5, but
I think I'm in 4 then. But our city council person, here's the best part. I don't remember the old guy's name. I don't remember the lady who I voted for's name. I don't know them as like people, but I was aware at the time of their policies and stuff. And one of the reasons it's gotten a lot better over where I am is we had, I don't know if I told you about it. This is kind of fun. I went on a Zoom. I was like joining my local city council like Zoom meetings and stuff when I moved in. Like I was going to meet the neighbors and be like, hopefully when COVID ends, I could like wear like an ugly like Doug Stanhope suit and go to a thing and start yelling at people on the podium. It'd be real fun, right? But like, you know, and maybe that's going to be able to happen soon. But anyhow, the guy that we had was this weird dude with dreadlocks and a nose ring that was like, well, when the people, we know who's doing the shootings, we're aware who all the gangs are, and we give them a chance, and we're like, you need to put the gun down, or there's going to be real, these are adults, by the way, there's going to be real repercussions, and da-da-da-da-da. He was doing that thing, the too far, the Pacific Northwest way, like, I'm not a Blue Lives Matter, no. But like, you need something, but that other direction of, okay, this is crazy, though, that you can't just be like, what's the difference between me and those guys? Like, if I just fired my AK-47 out the front door, they'd be like, now we're going to warn you, Mr. Wheeler. No. Right. And it's noticeably, it's like, well, they come from a different background. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but when someone carjacks my wife, someone needs to go to jail. Like, I'm never going to be able to find them and murder them because it happened when I wasn't there. Right. She never got carjacked. I'm just...
Hypothetical, right?
Hypothetically, she would fucking run someone over before. But anyway, I was like, I don't like this guy at all. And like the lady running was like this cool black lady that was like, okay, no, the police are fucked up, but it's not that we don't need them. We need like reform within it. And the reason that they don't come around here is they're just like, well, yeah, the city council's like, oh, don't involve them. Like, we'll just take care of it so nothing happens and people keep getting shot and whatever. So I voted for her and she came in and things are a little bit noticeably different now. And I'm like, people, and this was like a city council election. People don't vote in these things. Right. And so like, I was like, and I live across the street from the schools. I'm like, I get to walk over there and be like, across the street, I'm going to do my civic duty. It is convenient for me, but I vote in everything now because of that and because I'm a homeowner. And I'm like, all right, look. And it's like, if everybody always did that, there would be no need for people to be like, the government's trying to. It's like, well, they should be people you chose for reasons that make sense.
Here, though. Like, and
well, this is the federal government. This is one of the states' rights need to.
No, I'm talking about America in general. I'm talking about we have.
Well, we're lazy and stupid.
Like our government is actually of the people. Well, there's most of the countries in the world still don't operate like that, dude. They're still operated by either dictators or fucking.
Oh, I know.
Or regimes or warlords or whatever, man. It's just like, and I think we have a really privileged, jaded, both.
Like almost hyphen. Privileged, vote, jaded. You should go to jail. Like, I'm fucking serious because
I don't think so though, dude. Because I don't want the village idiot voting if he doesn't want to vote. You know what I mean? Like
but he does. See, here's the problem. That guy he watches cars drive around in circles, and 2 of them vote for every one of me and you. And like that, the people who don't, who doesn't vote, well, I'm not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. They want what I want and probably what you want. And then they don't vote because they're like, well, Joe Biden's not quite exactly. So let's just have Hitler. Like, what are you doing? It's so stupid. And it's like those people, you don't have to point a gun at Cletus. He slept in the parking lot. He's going to vote to make sure the gays stay out of his business or whatever the fuck.
I think
every time. But people that think are like, they think. That's the problem. They're like, oh, well, it's not perfect, so I'm just going to bow out. I'm like, no, you'll go to jail. Vote. And you know who you have to vote for then.
I don't know if I agree with that, dude, because that is dangerous. Because
you
then
have
you can
to agree
start
with we're making policy right now. Everyone watching this is going to have to do as we say. And you need to either get on the Wheeler train or you're going to voter jail.
I think the philosophical issue with that is that you'd have people selling their votes.
Yeah,
because I'm forced to vote.
Oh,
so
democracy doesn't
give me $500 and I'll vote for whoever you want me to.
Dude, I'll
vote.
do that too. We could make $500 and you're like, oh, let's not do this. Come on, Jared. What are you tired of not having a Tesla? Come on. No, my point just being though that like it's like the Simpsons thing. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Talking about Trey Crowder.
Democracy simply doesn't work. No, I just so
it's in comments.
Oh, who is that? I don't know.
Amanda's asking if you're talking about Trey Crowder.
Oh yeah, Trey Crowder. I don't know. Did he invent clam chowder?
No, that's the black dude you're talking about.
Oh, he was the city council guy. I don't know his name.
No. She's talking about you. There's a guy I think you said on YouTube who does a great job covering all these issues.
Yes,
he's a black dude. I think.
No. That dude's white though.
Oh, I thought you said he was black.
No, he's kind of a redneck.
Oh,
there's a different guy. We go too fast.
We are going really fast tonight.
It's probably a great thing that you don't have a Coke hookup. So Coffee Bender's as close as I could come. That's why I'm drinking beer. I'm like, I'm gonna drive later, but that's why I'm not drinking whiskey.
I should bust out a little bit of that fucking. Oh, I'm out of vodka. I think I got a little tequila up there.
Yeah, tequila's always good.
I could sip some tequila.
Yeah. I love tequila. It's one of the skinnier liquors, and one of my favorite ones by itself without doing anything, like a nice like reposado, or even an añejo tequila, like where you're just on ice. Is really good.
I'm a big fan of the reposados and the blancos. That añejo shit, when they start flavoring it, dude, I don't know what it is. I can't do it. I can't do dark tequila, man.
You got to be
my tequila's got to be completely clear.
Here's what I'll say: there's a lot of those are bad, but the good ones are fucking great.
Right.
That's like it's a cigar tequila. That's what it is. And there's one called El Jimador. I got my dad some for his a birthday a while ago.
El Jimador?
El Jimador, yeah, with like a J.
Humidor?
No, Jimador. It's
okay.
I don't know what that translates to. Does anyone know what El Jimador with a J means in Spanish? I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, I was going to make a joke about how, like, that is the problem. Like, having people choose is like, remember MySpace when they were like, now bands get big and there's not even record labels involved or anything like that. And you know what they chose? Like, broken-sided millionaires and fucking, like, who's the person that almost got killed at the gathering of the Juggalos? Tila Tequila, yeah. That, like, that's who, when you let the people choose without the gatekeepers, that's what they do. So we're like, you don't get Queens of the Stone Age that way.
So you just reminded me of something I wanted to talk to you about tonight.
The gathering of the Juggalos? Because let's.
No.
Okay, cool. We should go to that.
The gatekeepers and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
So this is something I've been kind of...
Are you the keymaster?
Looking into for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm looking into it for different reasons from what I'm about to say or even talk about right now.
Okay.
Something has been happening over the last 20 years with basically the emergence of the modern day internet, Web 2.0.
Yeah, wherever we are here.
Because we all know it was around in the 90s and shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't what we know of as today.
I sat and waited for naked pictures of Xena to slowly load over an hour.
Right? All pop, and this started with MySpace way back then. All pop music, like almost all of it, is now in this very specific 4-chord progression. And it's this weird. There's always been a handful of chord progressions that were like the golden chord progressions, right? Like the majority of hit songs are in this group, but there's a handful of them. In the last 20 years, there's only been one, and it's like 95% of the hits are these very specific 4 chords. And from everything from like Despacito to some other shit going all the way back to 20 years.
And that's like the guy, the can you feel the love tonight? Loving and love. It's like all the same one.
Right. Right. But this is even more egregious because it's exactly the same 4 chords.
Yeah.
And they're not even changing them up that much.
Oh, yeah. You want to
know
like
why?
those
Those other songs, they would same 4 chord in the progression, but they'd switch the order of the chords because the 4 chords just sound great. So you can just whatever. This is the exact same chord progression is what I'm getting at. And
yeah.
The point these guys were making that the point that has been made that a lot of people are kind of beating around the bush on is it's these new gatekeepers because they don't have a record label, right? Because you don't have, think about like this, the golden age of music, right? The 60s through the 80s. You had guys who really understood in new music as an executive, right? Mm-hmm. So they could find a Sting.
Frank Zappa said all this stuff. That's what you're talking about.
Well, he's one of the ones.
He was one of the big ones in one of his books I read where he was going off about this.
Yeah, and they actually knew it.
They got it.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
And including guys like, for example, Frank Zappa would never be given a shot today.
Oh, for sure.
But there was an executive somewhere along the line who was like, no, this dude's good. Same thing with Sting. Same thing with...
Well, they took risks on stuff that was interesting. They didn't know... Well, you know what? That, particularly now, even in these last 10 years... It's the same. It's an algorithm. Mm-hmm. It's machine because they understood music, but they didn't understand people the way we do now.
So here's why, right?
Okay.
There's no true executives that are real music people. So now is what you have, and that happened with the collapse of the music industry.
Where there's no money left.
And the collapse of the record labels.
Yeah.
And then is what started happening. And this is really, like you just said, in the last 10 years, it's gotten way worse because of the Spotify playlist and the iTunes playlist, because that's your new radio station. You don't try to get on 93X anymore. You want to get on the Spotify metal playlist. Well, the problem is the guys who curate that playlist, it's actually worse in pop music. Metal, not so much. It's pop music I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's more wiggle room in metal.
They don't understand to see the long term. They don't understand how to look at something that is going to be popular but isn't right now. So is what they're listening for is they're trying to find music that already sounds like it's a hit.
Yep.
Which means they're subconsciously, they don't even know they're doing it. They're listening and only accepting songs that have these 4 chords.
Right.
So then is what happens is you get this negative feedback loop where the audience and the consumers, they're being fed 4 chords. Mm-hmm. So that's what they like as hits now. So then it's only reiterated through the numbers now, because now these idiots who run it, so no, look, I got 1 million streams. I got 1 million streams. I got 1 million streams. So I know what I'm doing. It's like, no, you don't. Dave Matthews' band Crash is a great example of this. That's another song. Crash into...
Yeah, I remember that one.
That would never make it nowadays because it wouldn't be given a chance.
That'd be fine.
Fuck you. I love Dave Matthews. But it's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me because...
Well, but doing it's such a narrow margin now because of all the bottom fell out of everything and they didn't get in front of the whole digital thing when they had the chance. But if they did it differently, the way that we think would be cool, they would lose money. They're like, oh, I'm going to bet on a long-term thing. It's like, that's not a thing.
It means the legend, by the way. Either a legend or
does it? That's cool.
It's either a legend or the legend, depending on how you say
it. Thanks, baby. Appreciate that. A legend. El Jimador. Well, it is a legend because it's the best añejo tequila out of all of them I've tried, which is a few.
Wait, hold on. Amanda's talking shit. I gotta fucking talk shit back here. Hold on.
Who is this?
She says she doesn't watch every podcast, but this is the first time I've seen somebody successfully blast past Jared in terms of words per minute. Well,
that's why I was looking for Coke earlier. I was really going to stick it to him, but
that's not even an indictment on John either. I've also consciously tried to slow down and let you guys talk more. I've watched you do it,
by the way. I've watched you get this facial expression when you're telling yourself to like, okay, let him keep going for a minute. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay that I see that. It's actually good. Like it's you exercising mental control over the external world.
I'm getting better at my job.
No, exactly right.
Dude, if I wasn't getting better at my job, we would have some serious fucking problems.
Like I didn't want you. As it was coming out of my mouth, it's like, does what I'm saying sound weird right now? No. It's good that I recognize that you're doing the effort.
It's a delight to have guys like you on that can out talk me or over talk me or whatever, because it creates less pressure and less thinking on my part. I can just react and hang out and talk now. When I get guys that don't love to talk and they don't know how to like, for example, I ask you a simple question, you can go yes, and here's why,
and here's the thing with that.
Yep. That's the best guest to have, right? Most guys in the music industry are not that type of personality.
It attracts some
especially here in
introverts.
this time. So or in this town. So sometimes I just have to talk more because otherwise we would have a lot of really boring conversations. Like I'm trying to spice it up and loosen dude up and wait till he gets a little drunk and it's weird, man.
Well, that, you know, it's a talent in and of
we
itself.
are very high energy tonight, and that's why another reason why I love having you on. Because when you and I get together, it's a fucking riot.
No, it's fun to just yell, and it's good too because again, like as we were saying, I think before it started, that you know everyone went down a level in being social during the last 2 years, and it's like if you already kind of weren't, you were like fucked, and like I forget that whether or not there's microphones or cameras or anything right now, that I need this. Like, I need to see someone I haven't seen in a minute and just yell at them at the top of my lungs. And maybe there's other people listening. And now I have an audience. Now it's even worse. Now we're putting on it. We're tucking our dicks, wearing dresses, and putting on a little show for the boys. It's just how it's
like, I know what you're talking about, though, dude, because when I went out, I finally went out to a show a while back. I was at the Caboose. Greg Chilton was there. The Duratio boys were there, and you know that bar that's connected to the Caboose?
Oh, the
Joint.
The Joint. Yeah, I've been over there.
Okay, you know it's like a big time Somalian bar because the neighborhood. I don't know if you know that, but
that's where
very
it is.
heavily frequented by a lot of Somalians. Even when there's a metal show going on next door, that place is full of Somalians. Right? That's just their bar. It's cool, no problem, right?
Somalis.
So I get whatever.
Yes.
I get drunk with my boys, and we walk in there, and I don't know what comes over me. Right? I don't know where this comes from, but I take my sweater off, you know, the knitted one I always wear.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Not my whole shirt, but just my sweater. And I start waving it above my head, and I go, I called you all here tonight just to announce I'm still not gay. And then just threw my fucking sweater at my buddy Sean. And I'm not joking. Every Somali stood up and walked out of that bar. I walked the room, dude.
I was hoping that they would they would have applauded. They were like, yes, we hate them.
Dude, they got
would have
up
been funny.
and they walked out, dude. And the bartender, the lady, I looked at her and went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she goes, thank you. Because apparently they're just like the worst customers over there. But like, I thought it was hilarious because I felt bad. I thought I was costing her money, and she's like, "You just saved my night." They're the worst. Because once we went in and chased them out, the bar filled up. Like that whole sidebar ended up filling up because people wanted to be in there now. I don't know if it's I
think there was a scene in American History X with a really similar story, but I think. But that's not where you're going with that.
I'm Jewish. Do not infer that.
Yeah, so is Ben Shapiro. Yeah. They keep a few around until the fucking bets are off, and then it's just
that's fucked up, dude.
All right, go in the hole. Like, but I said things that helped you guys. Like, yes, and thank you very much for that. Go in the hole.
You're right. We do need Jews to burn the Jews.
Yeah,
you can stay for
I don't
now.
want to get my hands dirty. You run the furnaces. Yeah. No, that's the trick.
Oh, God,
but,
dude.
See, you're one of the good ones, so we're going to give you a job. See how it is? Yeah.
No, I just thought it was hilarious how I said I'm still not gay, and that was still, they're so homophobic in that culture. They were still like, fuck this place.
Obviously didn't believe you.
They're like, no way, this guy's like,
that's what someone who definitely
that's
is
exactly what the gays would say.
Yeah. And he seems like a charismatic guy that no matter what happens will 100% turn us gay. We can't listen to him. We have to leave now.
I'm not gonna lie,
that would be funny. Like he's so convincing. We have to go.
And with a good haircut, that sweater, and then the way I took it off, I probably seemed super gay.
Yeah, they were like, he's
a raging homosexual, is what they thought.
He's gonna be like, aren't you tired of your wife bossing you around? I'm like, he's making sense. Like they knew that you were gonna get him. Like, who's mad that you're here right now? Any of your gay friends? No. Your wives? That's right. Come on over, boys. Yeah, you could have got him. That's what you should have done. You should have turned all the Somali guys gay. There we go. God. Put that as a clip and cancel me now. I like what you said earlier, the Joey Diaz trick, because that actually 100% we got off of that, but you are right.
Yeah, you can't cancel me.
Patrice O'Neill that said, don't be a children's show guy and get caught jacking off in a gay porno theater. be a guy that entertains guys that jack off at a gay porno theater, and if you get caught jacking off at a gay porno theater, no one gives a shit.
Exactly.
And that was his thing, and that was kind of Joey's thing too. Just kind of like, yeah, well, what am I gonna offend my fans? Like they want to see my balls.
Yeah, you can't cancel me because I've already told all these stories and canceled myself.
Yeah, I'm
like, that's
already
the
a
whole point.
piece of shit. Is if you're surprised you weren't paying enough attention to have your voice heard. Yeah, that's
yeah. When they come after me someday, it's gonna be easy for me. I'm gonna be like, I never once claimed to be a good person.
I'm gonna side with them though. I'm just for fun. I'm gonna help them. They're gonna be like, Jared, like, you fucking tell him that's right. I was on his podcast. He touched me. Like I'm just sitting there smoking a cigar. It's like, he's a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah, and I'll throw you the doll and be like, show me where I touched you on the doll.
And I'll just start licking it. And then they'll be like, I think we should not have let John in here, even though he claimed to be on our side.
Eating the doll's ass.
Yeah, that'll just be the punchline. I only wanted to lick the doll's ass, and I faked joining the crusade of the damned against you just for that shining moment when everyone realized they've been wasting their lives. And then
shout
I go
out
to jail.
to Nano Taco Studios. Do you know who that is? I don't even know.
Hey, no. They're the guys. They're actually right down the street. They're by the river over there. They're a film
in a van
production. Well, they might be outside your house in a van right
down
now.
by the river.
I'm in a van down by the river. Oh man, David Spade was on Two Bears talking about Chris Farley. Let's get to that in a minute. But Nano Tacos, they're the ones that are putting on the Revolution Circus, the thing where I'm both hosting it with my friend Morgan, like a couple of idiots in between bands.
When is this?
April 3rd at the Hook and Ladder.
Nice.
Sunday, April 3rd.
And where can people go to find information about this?
Probably Facebook. Or does Nano Taco have a website? I don't know. If
If you guys got a website, put your website in the description.
I mean, I invited like 500 people to it today. But yeah, they're kind of like the two people that are the main people are in this thing called Apocalypse Theater. Who it was weird. My old band was on like an Invisible Records, which was like this Chicago industrial label compilation with them back in the day. And they were also from here, and we didn't know each other. But they so they kind of are this industrial thing, but they put on this thing called the Revolution Circus, which is like fire jugglers and weird multimedia things and like industrial and electronic bands. And it is kind of a wild mix of stuff. So their plan this year was like have me and one of my other favorite, Morgan Pearson from stand up, who's this foul-mouthed Asian girl that we have befriended. And I was like, oh, she'd be a perfect like other person. I couldn't think of anyone better, actually. I was like, hey, do you want to do this? She's like, okay. But like, yeah, so we're just going to be gross in between everything and introduce stuff. And then I was like, can I play a set like Frank Sinatra? Because again, the sound guy will just hit go. But my plan is to be like, when 8 o'clock or whenever my slot rolls around, like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd try out something new tonight. Favor you with a little song, and it'd be all the funnier that it launches into this like ghost main hell of like awful distorted rap stuff. But I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna do another one for you.
That's awesome.
It'll be really fun. I'll be wearing a bow tie. It's gonna be fun.
The character will be a swooner.
Yeah, it'll be a crooner.
You won't do crooner. Swooner.
Oh, yeah. I saw a
it won't be crooner music.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think that'll be really fun. I'm gonna play it right up until the first thing kicks in, and then it'll get real weird. But by the way, I saw we got married in Vegas. I saw my parents were slow, immediate family only group at the Bellagio, but we went and did a bunch of Vegas things. Like I saw the Blue Man Group finally, and
are they as good as everybody says they are?
Holy fuck, that's entertaining.
Because that's
a whole thing.
Everybody I've ever seen, or everybody I know who's ever seen them, says it's amazing. And the only reason I've reserved judgment is because it's a musical act, and the people that have said it's amazing, never once have I met a musician.
Oh,
so that's why I wanted to know if is it as good as everybody says it is as a musician?
Because musically, it's really well. I think they don't come out and say it because they don't come out and say anything, but the thrust of it seems to be that music is a universal language because they do these weird.
What the fuck am I talking about? I've seen the Blue Man Group.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, they came here on tour. Yeah,
did they? Okay, yeah. It's cool in Vegas because their setup is like a fucking Nine Inch Nails concert. But anyway,
it's usually the other way where I'm making shit up that never happened.
Yeah.
Now I'm forgetting core memories.
No, you don't need that. You need to make more room for made up shit. Get those out of the way. That's the problem you're having. But no, I guess the point I was making though is that we also went, like my parents and brother and sister and Alexa's family were there. My parents went to a lot of the shows we went to with us because they enjoy fun. And one of the things we went to go see
They enjoy fun.
They do. They enjoy crazy
I
shit.
think everyone enjoys fun, bud.
Yeah, some people's ideas of fun is kind of dull, but we went to go see a Rat Pack like tribute, basically. And it was like they do all the goofs in between songs. They're like shaking hands with the audience and hitting on everybody, but they could sing like the guy doing Frank was landing in the fat middle of every note like crazy. The guy doing Dino looked like him. Like
really?
He came and he like shook my hand. He looked at my dog. He's like, "Prison, huh? Oh, we've all been there." And he just goes back to singing and smoking a cigarette. And it was like, again, it was like the size of maybe a little bigger than Club Underground or Acme or something. Like it was like a comedy show sized thing. So like, but wait, what the fuck was I? Oh, crooners, right? Because we all like old school crooners. You could order like the martini I ordered was just gin. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, and they would say the jokes were a little off color here and there, and every time they do it, like the guy playing Sammy would come out and he's like, "I want to remind y'all, it's 1960 right now." Before you get mad, like he made some back of the bus joke or something. It was
That's amazing.
But then they'd keep being like, I don't know who you'd complain to. The internet doesn't exist yet.
That's awesome.
It was so fucking good. I'd go back to Vegas just to see that.
Deadpool vibe, like breaking the fourth wall.
Very.
But breaking the fourth wall not just as like the camera and the audience, but like time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't forget, we're not in 2022 right now.
Yeah,
like, the internet doesn't exist.
And
That's
they did
amazing.
those jokes, those wall-breaking jokes, still in the same kind of, you're doing in the same way that they did the actual, because they pulled gags that literally like, like they brought out a bar cart on stage, which was funny because that's not that crazy now, but in 1960, it's like, oh, I got a bar right on the stage. What a bunch of crazy drunks. But now it's funny that they're doing. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, what? He's like, my doctor said I need to stay away from liquor, and he pulls like a 4-foot straw out of his sleeve, and it's like, that's an actual, there's pictures of them doing that goof. And so they did like the actual in-between jokes, but then with like the ones that were a little blue, they made comments about that were fourth wall break. Yeah, it was one of the more entertaining things I've ever seen. Them and the Blue Man Group were like, for different reasons, the wildest, like, I don't know, yeah, made me feel good about like entertainment again. I was like, oh yeah, there's fun stuff out there.
And you're not a big health nut. You're not a big health nut, because I've heard the biggest problem with Vegas is the food. Like, it's really hard to find healthy food there.
Yeah.
So if you're not a health nut,
I am, but I mean, I'm still gonna just take.
You're not a health nut, John. You might care about your health, but you're not a health nut.
Well, not a nut like I haven't had a grain of brown rice in 12 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it'd be more like I don't eat, like, at this point, even like cheese or gluten or anything anymore. But for like, I haven't had a beer since then. I had some beer there, but I was like, well, I'm just going to do this. And there's a few things where, like,
in Vegas.
Yeah, like Alexis has some sensitivities to things that would actually have made her like sick that she had to avoid, but things that were only a matter of like, well, this could put some weight on. Who fucking care? We did so much walking. I just came back home and ate, vegetable pho and stuff.
That's how I feel about the state fair. Like, justifiably, I can do all that shit, that crazy food and drinking that day, is because I still come home and the next day I'm fucking sore. Like,
yeah,
the
90,000 steps that day. Like,
yeah, and in 95-degree weather or whatever the fuck it ends up being that day.
No, I always say that, like, that's okay unless you have an actual, like, Alexis is like she's kind of gotten to where she figured out that dairy bothers her stomach enough that she just like avoided that. But whereas gluten's like, she'd cut that out and drop, I don't know if she's watching this, but like 30 or 40 pounds in like a few months or something like that. Like, it was causing her. That
almost sounds dangerous.
No, it was at the rate of 3 pounds a week or whatever. But it was like really, really quick because it was, generally speaking, we try to be active. We try not to eat just horse shit. But it just turned out that, like, the breading on fried chicken, like, every other 3 days.
Is it horse shit or is it whores shit?
It's horse shit.
It's horse shit, not horse.
You know what's funny?
Shit?
Horse shit would probably be healthier than whores shit because they feed horses.
I'm not even being facetious. I'm being genuine. Is it horse shit or is it
No, it's horse shit. That's horse shit. Yeah, you can pronounce it all slammed together, so it's like horse shit, which is funny. Like, I think a lot of people
I'm gonna start doing that in writing.
Say it's horse shit. That's like Ricky from Trevor. It's just a bunch of horse shit. Ricky, it's never mind. What goes around is all around. Yeah. I was just rewatching Trailer Park Boys a while ago because I was like,
one of the greatest shows of all time.
Oh my god!
But dude, I want to stay on this crooner thing for a second. Dude, because I've always wanted to create a Christmas album of crooner music. Literally, I want to do like White Christmas, like How Much Is the Dog in the Window, all that.
Dreaming of a
dude, I don't like singing anymore, and I'm not very good at it, except for that style of music. I have a great 1940s style.
Would you want to do it? Let's make a crooner album.
Dude, I want to do a Christmas album.
Just like the ones I used to know. Yeah, it's going to be so moving. Was are merry and bright. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And then I want to do snarky one-liners in between. So like fucking God, I had a bunch of jokes written down back in the day. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. But
if you're thinking I mean White Christmas in the racist way, well, it's 1951. You're absolutely
right.
We're
talking about Coke, baby.
Oh my God! Oh, did you see that South Park where like Randy got him to like legalize Coke?
No.
Oh my God! Like they rehashed the whole thing where he went and did all the things to get weed legal, but in like fast motion. He's like, oh, it helps people more than it hurts people. All right, there, it's legal. Like he just like whipped through. It was because it was a Christmas episode. It was actually I haven't seen that show in forever, but I was just watching TV because it was Christmas time, and like they were like all the whole town is like watching their kids ice skate and stuff. And they're all just getting fucking trashed, and they just get in their cars and cause all these accidents and stuff. So they were like, no more drinking. They closed the liquor stores during Christmas. So Randy started selling weed to everybody, and then they're like, weed's not in the holiday spirit, so he started adding Christmas snow to the weed. And then some weird event made it so that they're like, well, fine, we'll get rid of the weed then. And then it was just Coke. It ended up with Randy doing Coke with Santa and Jesus, and they kind of came around to being on his side. Like, yeah, Santa's done Coke before, and I'm going to tell you, nothing's going to change my... That is really good, though, I got to say it. But still, Jesus, try this. He's like, wow, that's not speedy at all. Okay, no, but listen, you know what, Randy? I think this is actually a good idea. And then they got all coked up and like into what he was saying. Like, everybody, instead of driving drunk, just all coked up and crashing into each other at the end. It's like, Merry Christmas. It was really fun.
Alexis actually is watching. She says 35 total, 20 after finding the different food intolerances.
Yes. And that was an actual doctor. Like, they're like, let's rule this and this out and see what happens. Let's rule this and this out and what happens.
It's interesting that it was actual poundage from food intolerances, because usually the people that I've heard talk about getting food intolerances out of their diet and then having health benefits from it, they never actually lost weight, even though they were losing belt sizes. And in retrospect, they realized it was all inflammation. Yep.
Well, that's the thing. I'll say that the number isn't as impressive as the way you look gorgeous, baby. Like, she looks like she lost more than that.
Nice.
But here's the thing. Inflammation and to an extreme level causes weight gain. So your body will freak out and just hold on to. So it's kind of that, like, the feedback loop, like the four chords. Like, it just keeps making itself work. Because, like, we were like we're not eating anything bad. She's just like, God damn it. Like, I can't just lose this weight. Also, my stomach hurts all the time. And finally, the doctor was like, yo, you don't want to be eating this, and this. And that actually helped immensely.
So did you guys get blood work done to figure that out, or was it an elimination?
I think it was just elimination. I don't think they actually found markers because it got figured out like on the first step. Like, we didn't have to go back and be like, although we have talked a lot about like how here's the thing. When people are like, oh, just do this, just do that. People's heritage, because her dad's directly moved here from Portugal. So it's like she needs a lot of vitamin D because they like eat fish and live in the sun, and we live in Minnesota and stuff.
Right.
Like, it's all different what everybody needs. Like, I eat the same way that she does, and I like kind of lost a little weight, but not really. Like, nothing really changed for me because it wasn't as drastic as a thing.
Right.
Who's that? Am I kissing yours? Aren't you my wife? No, I'm just saying, you look great. And
ass kisser.
No, it's. I mean, later, yeah. Like, as long as this doesn't run till after her bedtime.
So, dude, she reminds me of my wife. That's some shit. Like, you pay her a compliment and she calls you an ass kisser. That's our wives are the same person.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is Alexis in private would just be like, "You're so sweet." In public, she'll be like, "Oh," because she's like me, where it's like, "Ooh, time to rock the boat." It's very funny. But yeah, there's an importance. People are like, are you always being genuine? I'm like, that's a horrible idea.
I'll tell you what,
you have to have a public and a personal,
I'll tell you
angle.
what, though, man. Most of us do nowadays because we have day jobs and fucking cancel culture and all that shit. But I'll tell you this, man. Based on the stories you've told me about Alexis, it sounds like Alexis is one of the very few women that my wife would actually enjoy hanging out with. Because, like, when we try to do the double dates, most of the time it's with like me and my buddy and then Kate and his girlfriend, and they don't actually get along or click at all, and it's basically me and my boy and then one of them will chime in on the conversation, it seems like Alexis and Kate would actually get along great.
Yeah, Alexis gets along really well with Bad. But it's why, I almost feel bad because I talk about hanging out with Jake all the time, but a lot of times Haley's with him and like his like permanent long time thing, and like her and Alexis are both don't take any prisoners, and like they get along really well. We all get along really well. Like, I can talk to, and it's like we do have a couple of friends like that, but we also do have plenty of people where it's like one of them is just gum stuck to somebody's shoe, and it's just like, okay, this is just for me, I guess. Like it does happen that way sometimes too. But Alexis will like yell at people in public. It's wonderful.
Let me ask you some of the dumbass questions I got right after I got married. Here's my favorite one, and I don't think it was a dumbass question actually.
Okay,
it just, to me and Kate, it was dumb.
Right.
They asked us, and I'll tell you what my answer was because it's very short, one word.
Yeah.
Well, 3 words if I'm gonna take the scenic route, it's gonna be 3 whole words.
Okay.
They said, so now that you're married, does it feel different? And both you and I, Kate, said unanimously, not at all. Like nothing changed for us. We didn't wake up the next morning. The only thing that was a little strange was for the first few months calling her my wife. Like that was a new thing for me because I'd never been married before, and
I mean, that's a part of it that I like is I was calling her that before. We had plans earlier, like right when COVID hit anyways. We're like, wow, we're married. But and there was a John Mulaney bit about that. He's like, I got married just so I could be like, when I get on an airplane, I'd be like, I assume my wife will be boarding with me. Absolutely, sir. It said like, can my girlfriend come? Like, I know I shouldn't say it like that, but still. But there is something to that. I kind of like saying that. But it, interpersonally, I would say that it doesn't feel really different because we've been together for years. But outwardly, it does. Like, it is a little different when it's just kind of like the Mulaney jokes. It's like, my wife will be with us. Like, it's grown up in this weird way that actually makes things feel like people have to take you more seriously or something. And so it's like our place in the world feels different. Us as a couple, we're the same. Yeah, that. But there is more than one way to look at it. And I feel like, it's like going from we were like living in a house with other weird roommates in Bloomington and not married to we're married homeowners within like less than 2 years.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you did key punch that meth head at the Medis. And I think I told that story on here.
Yell at people and key punch meth heads?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
Explain.
Okay. I'll tell you about that right now. All right, well, this one's easy. So there's the Medis, right? And My Zero was playing it once. And by the way, it was really funny because we played 5 whole songs because that was the time allotted. Actually, that's fine. I don't want to take up too much time. But like, it was fun, but so much stuff happened within 5 songs. There was a guy streaked the stage. Like this fat guy, Matt Rutherford, got naked. And,
I know that name.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. And he was trying to freak me out, but I just like grabbed his dick and was like, ah! And he was like, hey,
you want to trade some tequila for a beer?
Yeah, you want one?
I'll take a beer. Pour you
here, grab you a beer and grab me one. I'll just start getting into my last one then. And I'll have a little of that tequila, yeah. But okay. Ew. But the story, so yeah, Matt Rutherford gets all fat and naked, and I grab his dick and balls, and that was funny. That was like 1 or 2 songs in, and then there was this guy, and what is his name? Adam Ellsworth or something like that. Thank you. And he's this big, I mean, head and shoulders taller than me. It was like me compared to him is like Indiana Jones fighting that bald Nazi, that gets hit with the propeller. Like that was like this guy's a big guy who has like, I don't know what kind of felony record for all kinds of spousal abuse. Whatever, cool dude. A cool guy. Real cool guy. And he was just
cool guy.
Oh yeah. He was just beating on people in the audience, basically. Like he was like just running up and just like it was like My Zero. It's like, yeah, it's fun, but it's like a guy that's like 2 feet taller than everyone else just running up and elbowing the girls up in front in the back of the skull and stuff is like not very cool. Like no one else was doing that. Yeah, Matt was naked, but that doesn't mean start punching people. That means you get naked too. Like that's the only, he's setting a precedent, and it's one of love, not hate. And there's a guy, is he at Ground Zero? He's a little guy, and he was there, and Adam just like picked him up and threw him, which consent, man. And like, so, he was doing a bunch of shit, and he kept hitting Alexis and her friend Anna, Anna's like a raccoon. Like she's like as small as you can get before being classified as a small person. But she also basically grew up outside and is like, a friend of ours. So she's wild. So eventually this guy, and I don't have my glasses on stage, so I don't even know what's happening. Like, I, of course, snuck a gun in there, and I was like, if I had seen him hit them, I probably would be in jail right now. Or not, because I'm friends with lawyers and I don't say anything to people. I probably would have just gotten done doing some community service for shooting this guy in the face. But anyway, yeah, we banned guns at the Amsterdam. Fuck them. Anyhow, like, I didn't see any of this because it's just a blur. But so Alexis and Anna just decide that as soon as this guy's back is turned, Anna, who's, again, small, jumps up, gets a hold of the back of his leather jacket, and just hangs off it with her hands and pulls his neck down. Alexis had already put her keys in between her fingers, got a hold of the other part of his jacket, and just started wailing him in the back of the neck, like just bam, 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 bam. There's like blood, not a little, and just like wailing on this guy. Then one of the security guards, God rest his soul, is this big black kid named Diesel, who used to go to the garage, who I remembered from back then. I would always tell him all sorts of crazy shit. He's like, "Hey, Reverend John." And that was fun. I was talking to him earlier. But anyway, he comes out around the corner all of a sudden because he sees all this happening. He's got like a cattle prod and like just drops dude. He's already all bloody and stuff. And then because we'd all been talking earlier, Diesel, knows who Alexis is from load in and talking and shit. And he goes like, "Hey, I'm calling the cops, so I'm not going to tell them what happened, but why don't you go back and wash your keys?" So he let her in the kitchen to rinse her keys off, and just like nothing happened. The cops came and were like, "Oh yeah, we know this guy." Just dragged him away. Just nothing happened.
Nice. Dodged a bullet.
And that was a few years, so yeah.
Shout out to the Nano Taco boys, dude. Drinking at the studio bar, blasting the podcast with the band and crew, man. Shout out to you guys.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, they have a dope studio too. I mean, like white screens, green screens, like huge TV screens. Like we're
and apparently a bar.
They have a bar in there. Yeah, they did comedy shows that were like semi-televised for like a little while. It had to be
is that what
a limited seating thing, because it's not like huge, but like there was like I did it once. So there is just like streaming and audience of like I was up there in a brown suit being an idiot.
That's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's like almost on a warm day if you really want to walk by the Mississippi River. It's like nearly walking distance from here, and my place just down when you kind of go down that hill towards the river, and there's all that stuff. Like Wally's studio was by there too.
Got you.
It was like down the street from there, so I was there a bunch. So I'm like, wait a minute, I just passed where I was like recording at my Zero record once when I first like went there. But yeah, it's super cool. And then they do all kinds of different things. But also in that whole complex, like Venus de Mars has like a studio in there, and from All the Pretty Horses, and it's interesting. It's a real. There's like all this huge graffiti on it. It's like this neat.
And women? No, you guys are lying now.
Wait, what? And women?
You were like, they got a cool studio. They got green screens and white screens, and I was like, at a bar. And
and women.
Women. It was like, no, you're lying.
Women work there. I wasn't gonna promote you as a fixture. Like, yeah, we got a couple of mics, some amplifiers, some chicks. We
got chicks.
We got everybody plugged into the board here. Like, yeah. No, yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that I live so close. It's funny too because it doesn't matter because nobody knows where either of these people live, but they're neighbors with Dave Murder and Cora, like in a different part of Minneapolis, so they actually like see them outside. But the studio is by where we live. It's interesting. I don't know, small world, Minneapolis.
It's fucking dope, dude. Yeah, man, I'd love to go down there and hang out sometime, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be neat. Okay, were you? Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, so yeah, I think I answered the marriage question.
Yeah. It was a dumbass question.
It landed Alexis key punching a method. That was like right around like we had kicked around the idea of marriage, and I think that night was when I was like,
"This is a ride or die."
I should probably do. Well, it's just so many things that night too. Like, I'm just like the guy gets naked on stage, and she was like, "He's not gonna like freak out. He's just gonna grab his dick." Oh, and there he goes. Like, like we just knew. It was like, oh, this guy's punching people. Like, Alexis will probably stab him. It'll be fine. It's trust. When you really get to know each other.
Yeah. Predictability. You know how that person's going to react.
God, the Medis. Boy, oh boy.
I heard those were a shit show from everybody I've ever talked to, including you. The Medis were a fucking absolute shit show.
And you know what's fun?
You liked them, but...
I liked them because of why I liked it. No, because I love chaos.
Well, and we've talked about this on previous podcasts. Yeah, you don't have to.
Like, I wasn't there to be
again.
like, ooh, this is going to be an affirmation of all that is good. And no, I'm like I'm gonna do coke in the bathroom, and Justin Fowler from Head Charge and me and Figgles are gonna throw shit at the person that like nominated some weird girl that plays the piano as the best keyboard player in Minneapolis. I'm like, fuck this! Like, just Greg's up there just saying just cancelable shit every other fucking phrase of stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god, like it was great. Like Danny Z punched some kid and got thrown out, and like. And like the sun, I know, but the sun was still up on that head. That was the best part. They didn't even open the main room yet. We were just like eating spaghetti at the
Where were they doing it?
Restaurant in the Amsterdam.
Didn't they do one at Roberts one year?
I don't know. I think all the Medis were at the Amsterdam. I
thought they did one towards the end at the. Not that it matters.
Yeah,
because Roberts wasn't even around very long. I don't even know if. Did you ever go to a show at Roberts in Mounds View?
Yeah, SMB played there with like Impaler and Blue Felix once or something like that. Way before I was in Blue Felix. Because it was like, who wears makeup? Let's all do this show.
That Floyd dude was a real prick.
Who was that?
The dude who owned Roberts in Mounds View.
Oh yeah, probably. I never met who owned it. I always just
I actually shouldn't say that. I actually should take that back because he was cool as fuck to me, but he was a prick to a lot of people he did shit in front of me where I was like, dude, that's fucking, you can't be doing that shit. But he was like, he thought he was just the fucking man, dude. And but he was kind of cool too, man, because the scene did make him a lot of money, and he did give back. So he did literally Taco Tuesday, where it was free tacos and free drinks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it was like rail drinks, but you could get a fucking rum and coke and fucking 3 tacos for free. And there wasn't a limit on it either. It's not like it was one. It's not like they gave you a fucking. It's not like they gave you a drink ticket. You know what I mean?
Or a taco card that you gotta get punched.
No, it was just like, here's the taco bar, and go up to the bar. And
that's
then
cool.
His only rule was you have to tip the bartenders something. And so everybody was giving him like $1 or $2 per drink.
Yeah, that's what I just do that, especially when it's free. It's like, well, here, like, I spent $12 whole and I'm fucking shithouse, and all of it just went to the bar staff. Like, I prefer that anyhow.
No lie, I know at least a half a dozen dudes that lived through the summer because of Taco Tuesday. Like, that was their actual meal.
That's
for
how
the
they
week.
ate.
Yeah, dude, because we were broke, bro. We were really trying to do it, man.
Yeah.
And some of these motherfuckers, like, that did have jobs were putting all that money back into their bands. And then other guys, like the Epicurean boys, they didn't have day jobs. Like, that was their job. And that's why they got signed to Metal Blade and everyone else didn't. You know, there was different ways to do this thing back in the day. But if you were serious, you were probably broke. Like, if you had money...
Oh, that reminds me that... Oh, sorry. When we were on here with Jeremy, that just reminds me of when we were talking about, like, the whole Skywine thing and all this stuff, and I made the snide remark, but I actually think it's true, that SMB didn't play one single label showcase, but we sold more records than everyone put together from here that did, except for people that actually got, like, you know, like American Head Charge or, like, I don't know.
And Quiet Drive and shit.
Yeah, and that stuff. But like everyone was just like, yeah, we did labels showcases. I'm like, we went on tour and like people actually showed up.
Yeah,
like,
who gives a fuck?
I know. It was weird. Well, it was a transitional time, which I think was like...
It was also clout chasing. We didn't have that term back then, but that's exactly what it was. When you could say, we're playing a showcase for Warner Brothers or whoever, right? That was clout, man. And that's what we were doing. We were clout chasing. We just didn't have that phrase yet, but that's exactly what we were doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I had ever gotten offered to do one of those, I would have, in the hopes that I could like turn this thing into a job that I'm doing.
But what you were saying is like the guys who were like, oh yeah, we played showcases, and you're like, fuck off, dude. That's meaningless. Because that's what I'm talking about. They were doing that to chase clout. They were trying to build their own hype. Which,
it's just A&R guys that wanted like a free steak dinner out of these people they're never going to talk to again because they're not doing anything that interesting.
That's why I would have done it. I would have been like, here's the thing, I want to get courted. Hopefully it's a good label with money, and they're going to take us to fucking Manny's or something, you know? Like, I want a fucking good meal and some fucking pricey drinks out of this bitch.
No, I meant the guys that worked at the label.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, we're going to go to a strip club in Minneapolis? Well, that'll be stupid. Anyway, good luck, guys. We'll be in touch. And they don't pay any money for all this. Like, hey, we got you some blow and like some real good whiskey. Cool, man. Yeah, I'm really going to help you out. And then you don't.
Yeah, I think it was the opposite then. I think you guys were showcasing how would that work?
I just meant if I was an A&R guy, I would be flying to Minneapolis and be like, oh, they think they're going to be the next whatever, and just getting them to be like, buy me lap dances and booze and shit, and just be like, yeah, guys, well, I'm going to bring your demo to the and just back on the plane.
So what would that be?
I should be given no
You're
power.
showcasing them.
ever.
So you would be showcasing for the bands instead of vice versa.
No, they would just be sucking my dick trying to get a record deal.
That's
I'd be
what
like,
I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna do that.
You're making them court you instead of vice versa.
Yeah. No, like everyone who's ever actually sucked my dick. Yeah, your poetry's super interesting. Yeah, sure. Like it's
Suddenly, I'm really into feminine art history.
I always am though. That stuff's fascinating.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'm married now. I shouldn't say that.
That's the joke of the night, bro. Cheers. That's the joke of the night. I'm actually really into that. No, you're not. You're right. I'm married. I shouldn't say that anymore. That's the joke of the night, bro. We just lost 4 viewers for that
being
joke.
a piece of shit in a consequence-free environment, may it never stop.
We just lost 4 viewers for that joke, and it's fucking worth it, bro.
On.
Either that,
Who
or
the fuck was watching us that got upset about that?
Either that, or they all had to pull out so they could log in, so they could comment. Because I noticed that if we ask people to comment, sometimes if we ask people to comment, you'll see all the viewers drop out.
Street smarts.
For just a few seconds, you'll see all the viewers drop out, and then you'll see them all come back in, and then boom, 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 comments. So there's something weird with how like YouTube works. Like if you go to pull up chat or
there's
something.
a lot weird with how YouTube works, but yeah.
And I think it matters more on the platform, right? So if you're watching it on your TV or your computer or your phone, I think that's what I'm getting at. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
No,
but I know that I'm not making shit up out of the blue. I'm probably
I don't think
beating
you are.
around an actual bush of reality. I just don't know the specifics of it. But I've noticed it when I ask a bunch of people to comment. You'll see the literal live viewers go down for a few seconds, then they'll pop back in, and then all of a sudden you'll see however many people dip, that's how many comments show up.
Alexis, she learned the key trick from her dad moved from Portugal to New Jersey in like the late 70s or 80s or whatever. And Rui's a rough dude. I'm glad he's my father-in-law. But
shit, I learned that in Coon Rapids, Minnesota.
Hell yeah. Just their parents are fun. But no, babe, if you're watching, are you watching this on the TV in the living room and then commenting with your phone? Because that's what I always try to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like if
because then you won't drop out.
Yeah, because that's also my preferred method. Because it's like I want to sort of pay attention. I want to dick around on my phone. Like I don't want to sit in my office. And although remember when I would chime in a lot. Usually it's because I was just
were doing something,
working all day and decided to keep going. And then I was just like, hey, Jared's on. Hey, Greg's on there. I'm gonna yell at him or whatever like that. That would be on my laptop. That usually would be fine though too on my end. But also our setup is pretty robust at I think some people's like internet is a bit scotch taped together, so that could be part of it too. Where it's like, oh, if you're on your phone, it drops out of the fucking da-da-da-da-da. But yeah, we're like, no, we need to make sure we have like a fucking psychotic like gaming router so I can like upload giant videos all day and have it not slow anything down.
I want to do this fucking crooner album. And when we do it, here's what I want to do. I really want to like go all in on it. So I mean, like I'll go clean shaven like a real crooner would have back then, because they didn't have any facial hair back then.
No,
none.
Sammy had a mustache.
I was just gonna say Sammy had a mustache, and every once in a while a guy would have a mustache, but that was as far as facial hair went in that era. Because you go 30 years before that, motherfuckers had full beards running for president and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, speaking of marriage though, that is one of the reasons I have a mustache right now is because I am married. And my wife goes, I like your mustache. It's like Gomez Adams. No one else finds it attractive, and I don't care. Like she's just like, yeah, like wear a leisure suit with a mustache. I think it's hot. And it's like no one else does, and fuck them. That is a nice feeling.
Bro, my wife gets mad when I shave, dude.
Yeah. She's like, ooh, you look like a piece of shit. That's hot. Like, and it's like, why would I don't need to not look like a piece of shit. I only really care about her opinion. So it's like, marriage ushered in the age of the mustache for me. So that's fun. That's another little addendum to that question earlier.
I don't think marriage specifically did that though for you. I think it's just being comfortable in your relationship. Because my buddy Dalton, Dalton,
it's very true.
My buddy
That's
Dalton,
more accurate.
My buddy Dalton has the grossest cop / porn star stash I've ever seen in my life. He looks hideous. It's fucking bad.
Oh,
bro.
Does he have like the full Buford handlebars? Like my name is Earl.
It's a Ned Flanders cop porn star stash,
man.
child molester, the whole nine, whatever.
What's up there, Chomo?
Yeah, 100%, dude. but he is still rocking it like a year later. He did that shit at the beginning of last summer. Dude, so clearly his girl's okay with it because she's still with him.
Yeah,
and that's why he's doing it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. As soon as your girl is like, I like it, you're like, I can get away with this now? Fuck yeah.
You know what I think? This is my new theory. What guys used to have mustaches back in the day. I think wife material likes a good gross mustache. Like, I think that it's like, why are so much of these older guys, they just grow a stash? It's like, because like weird, like little teeny girls don't like it or whatever, but it's like when you're ready to wife someone, they want you to look like a porn star.
Until
like,
you're hipster.
Yeah.
The hipsters loved it. Like,
well,
that's where
there is that, but I don't even count that because now we're past that. And for decades before that, like everybody, like my dad had a pretty righteous, but like now he's kind of a semi-close beard guy. My dad's like a cool guy, but not a.
You're right
cool
though.
guy.
Hipsters were a millennial thing. You know what the Zoomers are doing, and I fucking love Generation Z, dude. These kids,
they're great.
These kids are fucking awesome, dude. They are not only like fuck bringing it back. Jared Allen of the Minnesota Vikings brought the mullet back. Dude, these kids are
I knew that.
These kids are 18 years old, rocking fucking mullets on TikTok. Like, and it's not a gimmick. Like, this is their legitimate haircut.
Well, because when you have access to everything that ever was and is, you just get to decide what you think is fun. You're just like, hey, look at the guy, look at the guys from Back to the Future 2. I want to look like that. Like, you just find these things, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna have a mullet.
Why that reference? Out of all the references, I was just thinking the other day.
Closest that was to the the I guess, coming out.
I was just thinking the other day as I was laying down.
Alexis is doing the TV and phone combo.
She confirmed.
Okay.
As I'm going to sleep the other day, I was laying down going, the next time I do a Halloween anything, party, concert, anything, I'm going as Marty McFly in that fucking life preserver vest that he had.
Yeah. Would you jump ship?
Yeah. And I was like, I think I could even just like time it to where I just grow my hair out a little bit. And then I could just have it like feathered like Marty McFly did. And then you just let it go dry and and comb it back.
Yeah.
And I have a pair of black and white Nikes that would just blend in perfect. I'm like, dude, I'm pulling this Marty McFly thing off. The only sketch part is I'm super tall compared to him. I mean, he's 5'3".
But no,
I'm almost a foot taller than him.
Hey McFly! Like, I would either want to go as Griff with the just like shave and just be like just unhinged.
Hey McFly!
He's got a little problem with his biometric implant. Yeah,
or work on water.
Just when fucking Back to the Future 2 absolutely predicted 2016, and I'll just go as like Leisure Suit President Biff, like.
Bro.
Like, 2 McFlys with the same gun. Poetic justice. Like, just in a bathrobe in my fucking underwear, like waving my revolvers around.
2 McFlys with the same gun. I love that line, dude.
Dude, one of my favorite things that ever happened.
He's a great actor. Think about that guy. He played
so many
different versions of a version. Yeah, he played versions of a family.
Yeah, he was Buford Tannen. I hate manure.
Biff,
yeah,
Griff.
God, he was so good.
Yeah, it was Buford,
young and
Biff,
old,
Griff, young and old. God, he was
also
fucking
subservient
amazing,
Biff, middle manager Biff, and like Trump Biff were like the same even age.
Yep,
that was like the same guy in the same era in different timelines.
Yep.
That shit is really impressive.
We never gave that guy his props. Like, society never respected what that dude did in a single movie.
He has a comedy album.
Or a single trilogy.
Have you ever heard his comedy album?
No.
That actor, he's got a thing where he's like playing the acoustic guitar and talking about being in Back to the Future. And he's just kind of like, people always ask me, is Michael J. Fox nice? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, hey, is Michael J. Fox nice? I thought he's not. He goes into the Bill voice. Biff voice starts yelling. It's really funny. But I called an old lady a butthead once because all I could think, I think about Back to the Future 2 like every day. And like, when I was newer to tattoos and I was probably had my dread mohawk or whatever, some old lady in the Mall of America was staring at me. I just turned to her. It was Meredith worked at a hair salon there and I was just waiting around and like, this was a while ago. But she was like, kept looking at me and the only thing I could think of was I just made eye contact. Like, what are you looking at, butthead? I just turned around and left. I was like, I went into the salon. I was like, I just called an old lady butthead. Why'd you do that? Like, Biff. Oh, yeah. Were you like, what are you looking at? But yeah. And it made her really scared. And I was like, that was so cool.
Hilarious.
I was probably wearing like a fake red snakeskin jacket or some shit, just yelling at old people.
So I want to stay on Back to the Future too, because it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Let's only ever talk about that.
So I think sequels that are better than the original. Okay. I think Back to the Future 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
It does have Vanilla Ice in it, yeah.
Godfather 2, obviously. Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, completely.
And that's all I can think of.
I'm
it's
on
4 movies, all in the 80s.
Terminator 2.
Oh,
Now-
shit. T2, that's early 90s. You're right.
Terminator's underrated because of how it's not underrated, but that movie was a low budget piece of shit movie.
The first one?
Yeah. That's the thing. It was what doesn't happen anymore. It's called a sleeper hit. Like it just kind of came out during the summer.
So was Back to the Future.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it just kind of got. But Back to the Future was
So
made
was Star Wars.
for a lot more money than Terminator 1 was. Like they didn't even get permits for shit. Like they were like,
Really?
oh yeah, when they had to punch out car windows, they had to grab the cameras and like run. Like that movie was made for it's a
I gotta look this up.
masterpiece of cheap. Like, it's unbelievable. When you go back and watch it, you're kind of like, yeah, it's like an 80s movie. You're like, no, they made this movie for like $200. Like, this movie's crazy. Terminator 2 is amazing. Aliens, I'll also throw in there. Now, Alien 1 is a masterpiece, but it's a different kind of thing.
Well, okay, so this is going to be hard to quantify because of the time period it was made in.
Oh, inflation.
Yeah.
But-
so in 84,
You go
What-
about times 4 for 84.
then it was still pretty low
Yeah.
because it was 6.4 million in 1984. But
Yeah, which
I'm not
means-
even saying inflation is what I really want to think about is like up against other movies in that era, because I feel like 6.4 million was a lot to make a movie back then.
That was about what? It'd be about 28, 29. By the way, this is my one math thing I'm good at because I would watch Mad Men and
I'm
sit
not
there
even
with an
talking. I'm
inflation
not
calendar.
talking current inflation. I'm just saying other movies that were made in that era.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
was the average in that era $2 million? Because here's my point. Now it is not a big deal to spend $100 million on a movie.
Yeah.
10 years ago, it was an insane idea that movie was $100 million to make. Now it's a regular thing.
That's true.
That's what I'm getting at.
Only
It's like,
really
it's
big
like,
movies like the King Kong remake were like 200 million 10
it's like
years ago or so.
Exact. It's like the budget version of the Overton Window is what I'm kind of getting at. It's
Yeah.
like, what is the normal
It's not
amount?
just the value of the dollar, it's also how much goddamn money they dump into movies compared to other things.
Because now
Yeah, okay.
it's a regular deal for the main dude to get paid 20 mil. The first time that happened,
Yeah.
people were like, wait, what? You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
6 million is still, I think, a small number.
It was
even for
Arnold
that.
Schwarzenegger was a celebrity by then, so he was kind of expensive. And he was a believe me, I sat and watched all this.
I believe you.
I love
I
all
believe
these. But they were originally not even going to have a big buff guy be the Terminator, because what they wanted to do was, the fun thing about Terminator 2 is it's what they wanted to do in Terminator 1. They wanted the liquid metal thing, but they couldn't do it. They were like, there's no technology exists to do this. But they wanted it to be like a little guy, like a regular, not little, maybe tall, but like maybe someone built like you or something, where it's just like, okay, it's kind of just this dude. Like, you wouldn't think he was superhumanly robot strong. So he just really blends into a crowd the way that Arnold Schwarzenegger like doesn't. But then they got Schwarzenegger. And then they kind of...
Bro. I have to read you this list. I am sorry to cut you off, but
No,
I have
that's
to
fine.
read you the list of movies that came out in 1984, bro.
Oh, I'm sort of familiar, but please.
Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yep.
Gremlins, The
Yep.
Karate Kid, Police
Oh my-
Academy,
yeah.
Footloose, Beverly Hills Cop, fuck Star Trek, Romancing the Stone.
The first Star Trek movie is kind
It's
of good.
Star Trek 3. That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Romancing the Stone, Splash, Purple
Wow.
Rain,
Wow.
Revenge of the Nerds. That came out in the same year.
The first. Oh, yeah. There was something where because they were talking about how
Police
Ghostbusters.
Academy and Revenge of the Nerds came out in the same year.
Oh, yeah. That actually makes sense to me.
Because Revenge of the Nerds is a sequel, right? Police
No.
Academy?
It's
Oh, it
Police
just has the
Academy,
same
like
actors.
1 through...
It just has the same
A bunch of
actors.
them do.
Yeah, my
and
bad.
Revenge of the Nerds was the first...
Red Dawn, The
Yeah.
Terminator, Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, Conan the Destroyer. So that's two huge movies for Arnold in 1 year.
Yep, that's what I meant. He was a celebrity back then, but it was a cheap movie.
Yeah.
Conan cost way more.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking 1984, 16 Candles.
Yep.
Dude.
It was a
19
defining year for
Holy
like
fuck.
style and
culture. That's the year I was
What?
born. Dude,
yeah.
Van Halen 1984 came out that year. Like, there's a lot that happened in 1984.
You were born that year.
1984
I like to date myself when people ask like how old I am. I'm like, I saw The Empire Strikes Back in the theater. Like, I was a little kid, but
My mom,
that's how fucking old. People look at that movie as like finding the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Or like that movie came out before people existed.
I got one. Because I'm not that much younger than you. So, dude, my mom brought me to see Pink Panther in the theater, and I was so young I fell asleep. Like, imagine how young you have to be
to fall asleep
in a movie. And then she also brought me to see what's the very first movie that combined actors and cartoons?
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not Pink Panther, Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah, that movie. I saw it in the theater too, but I was older.
She brought me to see Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the theater, and I fell asleep. That's how young I was. Dude,
that movie is fucking.
The CG in that movie, by the way,
it wasn't CG though.
Technically,
it was cell framed. What is it? Like the plastic sheets.
Sorry, I meant VFX. The VFX, because they're definitely visual effects. It's blending them. That's what I meant. Sorry, VFX. Yeah. The VFX in that are still to this day mind blowing.
Oh, it's seamless.
If you watch
it's kind of amazing.
I watch Corridor Crew on. They're actually from here, but they're in LA now. It's VFX artists react.
Oh yeah,
and they react to good CGI, bad CGI, bad VFX, good VFX. Now they do a whole stuntman thing, fighting scenes. They do everything right. It's amazing. It's absolutely a great follow. Check them out on YouTube, you guys. It's Corridor Crew on YouTube. Anyways, they reacted to that and they were like, I don't think most people understand how crazy amazing this movie was. Mm-hmm. Not only for the time, but still to this day.
It would be a monumental task. It's almost like now.
This is a steep analogy, so bear with me, but it's almost like building the pyramids. Where like the skill and knowledge.
Oh, how did they even do it back then? That kind of thing.
Like we don't even know how to do this properly.
Yeah.
Like we probably couldn't do this right now because we're so dependent on technology.
You probably
and
couldn't because the amount of people that are very understanding of the old school animation technique that you'd have to wrangle together that were that proficient in it to make that movie now. I don't think you even could.
That's exactly what I'm getting. And just not
if you did, they'd all be pretty old.
And not even just the proficiency, but the literal knowledge of how to do it. Because you don't need that knowledge anymore because you use computers, including when we talk about masking. There was a way they used to do masking in video, and then there's the way you do it in modern days with computers. So there's an entire skill set that was never taught to the younger generation. So all these kids entering VFX now have literally no education on how they did things in old school golden age Hollywood. And you don't need to. It would be a waste of time and money to teach them that skill.
It's like teaching them to build a Model T. It's like, well, great, but they don't work like this anymore. So just figure out new cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It is funny though. Sometimes that just reminded me of Disney had a technique for making underwater scenes in animation.
Damn. And you were 17. Your girl was 4.
No, I know. She loves that. Well, that's why
she gets
look at hashtag dirty daddy. That's why she likes me in a leisure suit and a mustache because she's like I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. She's always like, "How old were you during your first threesome?" Like, cool. I was going to kindergarten. Like, it's always like, yeah, like that's hot. That's a thing.
God, how old was I during my first threesome? I think I was 16.
That's not bad. High school is pretty good for that.
I was definitely in high school. I think I was 16, and here's the impressive part. I don't think I had ever played a show in a band yet.
So those guys just really liked you.
Yeah. They loved me, man. They sucked my dick so hard.
Dude.
No, but
a high school girl can't suck a dick the way a closeted theater kid
The reason
can.
I say this, though, is because I'm still to this day convinced that if I wasn't a musician, I don't understand or believe how or why any woman would have ever let me near her vagina in any way, shape, or form. Because I was weird and awkward and goofy, and I wasn't trying to be the tough guy. And I'm convinced the only reason I got girls ever was because I played guitar and I was funny. That's it.
Funny goes a long way, though.
Hell yeah, it does.
Funny probably goes further than guitar.
Way farther.
Because I know some people that are good at the guitar that don't know how to fucking talk, and then they can't quite seal the deal.
It depends on what we're talking about.
My nickname at Blue Felix was Wheeler the Deal Sealer. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Are we talking about getting laid, or are we talking about like having an actual tangible relationship? Because if it's just getting laid, nah, man, playing guitar, that'll drop panties.
No, it won't. Not if you're a fucking weirdo that can't talk. You gotta be able to finish the job.
Okay.
Because there's a big Here's
see
the
what
thing.
you're saying. I
You
get it.
gain audience with them. You gain audience with the queen by bemusing her with the guitar.
They might drop the panties because of the guitar, but as soon as you open your mouth, they pick them right back up.
Yeah, and then you'd be like, she's like, okay, I'm going home. Yeah.
Got you.
You got to be able to do it.
And
as proud to be in bands with people who could do both. Where I'm just like, God damn, the quiet guy that plays guitar though, when he gets him alone, he knows how to fucking.
Oh shit! Jeremy Blake jumped into chat.
Hey!
What does this even mean? OTPHJ to whichever one of you shows your butthole first. What is OTPHJ? Over the pants hand job?
Yeah, I think
is that what that means?
Over the pants hand job. Yeah, you're right.
I'm disturbed that I was able to figure that out. I'm more bothered by the fact that I was able to decipher over the pants hand job more than the fact that he commented it.
Well, and then underneath he had his first threesome at camp when he was 8, but he wasn't supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk about it, and it doesn't count when one of them's an adult.
Yeah. Unless you're the adult, then it does. They know why they signed up for camp.
And you guys know why, and you all know why you subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah.
So I ain't even apologizing anymore, man.
Don't.
Our fans are savage. Our fans and listeners across the globe to this podcast, they're fucking savages.
Yeah, no one wants to watch you and me apologize for the garbage that comes out of our mouths. Like,
do you remember the first time we not the first time, but second or third time we podcast, we started to develop a genuine friendship. We started talking on the phone. I'd call you in the middle of the night.
We would talk more.
And we'd both just be blasted at like midnight, and I'd call you and just rant for 2 hours. Dude, and we talked about this, like the Rum Dumpster, your podcast. You kind of want to go more the YMH vibe, right? And I kind of want to go more the Rogan vibe, right?
The interview vibe.
But what I really think is happening, whether I like it or not, is this podcast is a cross between Rogan and YMH.
Well, I think that's a better niche anyway. Like, it should be a disgusting mess that, like, people, because really, part of the internet is enough of the Wild West. Where, I mean, again, to get kicked off of YouTube, we'd have to, like, behead someone. I mean, it would take, like, a lot. Like, you can go, some people might get annoyed by this or blah, 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 blah. But it's like, really, it's only you keeping you from doing whatever you want.
Or just be Alex Jones.
Yeah, that would be funny.
We should.
I want to be out. That's what Dumb News was almost like.
I was just gonna say, do you want to create a parody, fucking like mock you style Alex Jones?
Here's the thing.
Like where we just make up conspiracies.
I thought about that. Listen,
literally,
man,
it's satire, and we just make shit up.
I kind of think that might be an okay idea. Here's the thing.
Just see how fast we can get banned.
Yeah,
or deplatformed.
Probably pretty quick. Well, do you remember? Did I tell you about the video I made? That
I'm just saying, as a Jew, I can come up with a lot of Jewish conspiracies,
and I can,
including fabricated ones.
Oh, especially those. Listen, did I tell you about the video that I made that got taken off of literally everything? It's the only thing I've ever gotten taken off of YouTube.
Is it the Texas Taliban thing?
No, that's actually one of the reasons my TikTok got so big. Like, people were just like, yeah, and then someone was like, it's good when women can't have rights, and then I just pinned them at the top comment and watch everyone shit down their throat.
Talk about the video you're actually referencing, and then I want you to explain to people the Texas Taliban video.
I will do that.
Because I don't even think it's funny, like, personally, but I think it's hilarious based on the Overton window.
Was the timing.
And it was the Overton window. It's the idea that, like, I get the bit, and it's fucking hilarious. Personally, like, I wouldn't have written it, because I mean, like, that ain't fucking funny. That's just me attacking people. But when you did it, I was like, oh, I get it. This is fucking funny.
Well,
Does that make sense, the way I said that?
Yeah, so I was being antagonistic on well, the timing was too good to ignore.
Right.
Where I'm like,
explain the first video.
They took Kabul and Texas, apparently, because everyone that's like, fuck those people, we're going to get them. But let's do what they do here. Yeah.
So what's the video that got banned from everything?
Oh, God.
You got to explain this.
So what I did.
I got to go to the bathroom while you do this. Not that it fucking matters.
All right, I'm going to go after you. I just see your wife was doing laundry. Can we still pee over there? Or should I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, when she does laundry over there, it makes the sink smell better.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, I'm about to put a stop to that. I took a lot of vitamin B today.
Dude, the vitamin B's fine, bro. It's the fucking fish
I've
oil,
heard your
guys.
thing with that. That doesn't do that to me.
Yes,
I take a ton of that shit.
No, it does. You just can't smell it anymore. Your urine smells like dirty pussy. I'm sorry,
Alexis,
bro, but it does.
Does my pee smell like dirty pussy?
That's like asking a cat owner if their house smells like cat, bro.
She'll tell you.
You're desensitized.
No.
People are easily desensitized to smells, especially their own smells or smells in their own home.
So here's what we'll do. I'll pee in your mouth, and then you let me know. If anything about that bothers you, I will go, okay, I think perhaps. Because normally, who doesn't enjoy a tall, warm glass of
I'll
piss?
give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's the guys who do fish oil and they're gym rats.
Maybe.
Because like when Jeremy Blake, who happens to be in chat, when he pisses in the sink, I definitely smell the fish oil. When Kyle Glidden pisses in the sink, I definitely smell the fish oil. Whenever I go to like certain shows where the backstage bathroom, like the Rock, the main event where there's one toilet and there's a couple jack dudes in one of the bands, those toilets always smell. It's nasty. It's fucking horrible. And I understand you guys gotta take that shit because it's fucking healthy.
It is.
I get it. But that's what I'm saying. That's what really actually makes that sink stink. It's fucking bad, dude. Like I'll have a podcast, and if a dude takes fish oil, and maybe it's because he's a gym rat, maybe not, who knows?
Yeah.
But if he pisses in that sink, like, dude, we'll wake up the next morning and we'll be in the living room and we'll be like, what the fuck is that smell? And it took me months and months and months to figure it out. It's that fucking sink permeating through the whole house. It's horrible. All right, so tell your story. What is the video that got banned off of everything?
Jeremy says Wheeler in that suit's making his dong move. You just
is it making your wiener twitch?
Alexa says I just stink in general, and that's true. I carry a lot of it in my mustache, and we know where that comes from. So the video that got banned
from
like immediately too, and I didn't even think it would. Was a like a William Shatner doing Rocket Man style piano ballad that I made. I'm actually proud of this thing too. It was like a spoken word over this piano ditty that I came up with. And it was making fun of everyone that thought that the vaccine was a depopulation plan. And whenever I, think about evil or talk to people about evil, the easiest way to figure out what the real deal is just go, well, what would I do? Because I'm smart and I'm a fucking horrible person that keeps it in check like we all should. So I'm like, I know if I wanted to get rid of a bunch of people, who that would be and how I would do it. The easiest way possible. So I just basically did this like spoken word, crooning, piano, William Shatner thing of like, here's what I would do. You know what the scary thing about it is? This was before the variants came out, whatever you believe. But this was pre like, oh, there's going to be different versions. This was a little before that. And that's why this is kind of funny. So I put out this thing. It's like, well, here's what I do. I release a disease that kills some people just enough. Maybe the elderly, maybe people with weakened immune systems, in the hopes that if a vaccine did come out, and I would wait for about a year until we're just sick of it. So everyone would be like, okay, whatever the solution is to this, can we please have it? I'm tired of sitting inside, tired of hearing about it on Joe Rogan. This is boring and shitty. Just shoot me up with whatever, please. And then they do. And that's the thing. And some people do it, and some people don't. And I would foster the division of like, hey, I would intentionally start conspiracy theories that would, appeal to stupid people because I know how this works. That's why I'm in charge, right? And I'm releasing diseases and things like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and I would be like, yeah, they're infringing on your rights, bunch of libertarian horseshit, whatever. And, and I would be like, well, here's a vaccine and it's mostly effective against it. And then I release another version. We'll say it mutated. That sounds realistic. And, I'm like, hey, you're going to need to take another dose of this. And then I would fan the flames of the other thing. And then people just wouldn't. And that version's not deadly. But then the third one would come out. And everyone, they had plenty of time to get off the fence. They had plenty of time to get with the program. It won't hurt them at all. But it'll kill everyone else. Now, you might be wondering, why not get rid of, the people who are weak and easily fooled and whatever? It's like, well, the way that I'm running the propaganda, it's people smart enough not to fall for it that we're keeping. We don't need the truck drivers. That's all going to be automated very soon. We don't need everyone who thinks they're smarter than everyone and refuses to cooperate. We don't need Walmart greeters. We don't need all of this blue-collar horseshit. They'll all be gone. And the robots will do their jobs. And the rest of us can move forward unfettered from now on. Now, do I think that's what would really, in the end of the song, like, do I think that that's really what's happening here? Well, of course. It's what I would do. And then it just kind of lilts off, and it's like, it's haunting. It's like a good song, too. I was kind of pissed, but YouTube was like, no. Like it immediately. And I appealed it and they're like, they didn't even give a TikTok, nobody. They were like, And it's like nothing, no bad words, nothing. It was just this piano song about like, oh, you don't kill people with a vaccine when you can manufacture a disease and then run the propaganda so that like people who actually understand things are like, oh yeah, I'll take the vaccine, and everyone else is like, fuck you. Oh, we don't need that. And they would go away. It'd be so much simpler that way, because then rather than tricking people into taking something, you just have to deal with everyone that's too stupid to cooperate, and off they go. And like that was his thing. And it was like a really catchy song, and I did a William Shatner. I was smoking a cigarette and wearing a suit. It was awesome. And yeah, it lasted like a half a fucking day. Like it was.
So clearly a person complained.
I don't
reported it, because if it was
Christina P says the faster it is, it's an algorithm. I don't know, because I was like, I did a lot of digging to try to figure it out. And the fact, I think one possibility is because it was, satire, right? I think when you talk about depopulation plans and stuff, that immediately gets flagged as some Alex Jones shit. Like, I think that's because that's also stupid. It's like the economy is a Ponzi scheme based on constant growth. So it's like, yeah, rich people want to get rid of us. Well, who's going to shine their shoes and suck their dick when you enslave them in a box from Eastern Europe and they're 14? Yeah, nobody. So it's like, yeah, they're not trying to do that, and that's stupid. But like, I think if you tread there at all, and that's my guess, either that or I figured something out. They're like, no, like nobody's doing this.
The reason I think it was a person,
so funny,
is because when I know I've been flagged by the algorithm, it's almost instant. Like, there's that trend going around. It's like, show me your desktop workspace the way it really is. I'm sick of seeing these RGB setups, right?
Yeah.
So I did one where I panned across this table, and it was the morning after a podcast. So there's beer cans, there's fucking ashtrays, there's ashes, cigarette butts, cigars, fucking. And then I had a bag of weed sitting out, and then my gun was sitting here.
No, that'll do it.
And they fucking flagged me real quick. That video never got a view. Like, it was as soon as I uploaded it, the video was flagged. So I knew for a fact that was the algorithm. That's why I think if it was up for an entire half a day, I don't think that's the algorithm. I don't think the algorithm takes that long to figure things out.
No,
it doesn't make sense.
I don't think it could have been the but I actually have a weird feeling that some of the language.
Your mother. I'm just kidding.
She'd be like, "What is this about?" But like, because I'm like, it was like this 3-minute long lilting piano spoken word thing. That was the thing. It's buried deep, like the concept of it. But I actually think that it might be some of the language I use. There might be like a secondary. This is just a suspicion that like it was like flagged for, hey, take a look at this, and a person from YouTube was like, okay, and they're like.
Right.
Yeah, that I think is maybe.
Yeah,
like, I don't think it was just like a user, because even Adam, who's been on your show, was like, "This is interesting." Like there was a few comments before it went down. There's people that are like, there was someone who's like, "This is kind of eugenicsy." Like what? And I'd be like, "I'm not being the person that is doing this. I'm just saying when
you wrote a song as if you were."
Yeah, when person. Whenever I'm like, well, how do you know? Were you there? Did you work for the CIA when this happened? I'm like, no, but I know they did this because that's what I would do, and I'm pretty smart. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is how this went. Can you imagine? I'll like sit there and be like, because when this happened, they had no choice. They had to go this way, and then you go this way or that way. Well, you got to go around this corner. Well, now you're stuck here. So what do you do? Well, there's only 2 choices left, this or that thing that happened. Yeah, this is what they did. And like, yeah, I'm good at that. And so I was like, that's what this is. It's just a little musical rendition of that. But it was so heady, I'm like, you really would have had to have sat through the whole thing and thought about it, but to go, okay, this is bad before. But it's weird though, because if you sat through it and thought about it, you'd be like, oh, I see what he's making fun of it. So it's an odd middle piece of like, I'll never know. Like it, and everything took it. Like Instagram took it down too. Everything took it down. I've never had anything taken off of Instagram or YouTube, crazy. Except for that.
I get shit flagged all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. But taken down. Not very often.
Yeah, YouTube fully was rare. Like, this is gone. Wow. I've never... And you have seen what I put on there. That's the other thing. Like, I'm almost trying to get in trouble. And
my
like,
favorite series you put out was the propaganda one.
Oh, yeah.
How to create propaganda.
I could teach a class. Maybe I should. That'd be fun.
It's crazy, dude. That shit's wild, man. Like, especially how you see it being, like, implemented in the real world, And like,
it's they live once you see it.
I think it's funny that most Americans believe they couldn't be duped by propaganda.
That's why propaganda works.
And
you have to believe that for it to work.
But then the rhetoric that you've seen over the last few years here in America, you're seeing Putin regurgitate to use his excuse to get into Ukraine. Oh, we're denazifying it. I've heard this. Even Will said on the podcast a few days ago and tried to look me dead in my eye and say, no, dude, Ukraine has a serious Nazi problem. Dude, here's the thing. I fucking looked into it because I heard that.
They probably do, so do we.
I heard that. But I don't believe this. And
well, okay.
Hear me out. Here's the point. I heard on the news.
Putin's wrong.
I heard on the news that the Nazis, there's a neo-Nazi fascist party, and it's the third largest political party in Ukraine. That blew my fucking mind. I was like, oh my God, I have to look into this. It's not true at all.
Yeah.
This wasn't from Putin. This was from a news organization.
Oh, yeah.
It's not true at all. There's like 14 to 16.
We have a pretty big one here.
There's 14 to 1,600 people in Ukraine that make up about 3 militias that are definitely neo-Nazis, and they happen to be siding with Ukraine against Russia.
Well,
that's it. That's the end of the story. Here's my point, dude.
Nazis are nationalists. That's the thing. They're going to do that even whether they're...
Do you realize how preposterous that is when we're talking about Ukraine? That's like talking about Wisconsin and Minnesota.
And we have a Nazi problem,
They're
but
the same
you don't
people.
Blow the states
We're
up.
the same people, dude.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, it's all a bunch of Germans and Scandinavian immigrants. We're all the same fucking people.
Yes.
Russians and Ukrainians are the same fucking people. Most of them motherfuckers got like
a
Ukrainian mom and a Russian dad.
Yeah. That's why it's such
ridiculous. But
yeah.
Point is they're using that and inflating the fear and inflating the problem to justify an invasion, which leads me to believe... Because we seen the fucking KKK rallies. They were on video.
Yeah.
Dude, and the FBI has numbers on it. There's like 3,500 KKK members across the nation. I do not believe that neo-Nazis and the KKK and white supremacy are an actual tangible threat to America's fucking security or Ukraine. I believe this is absolutely Russian troll farms spreading propaganda to create infighting.
Did you notice how many fucking like super patriots disappeared off the internet when we like cut Russia off? Like, and it's
I didn't explain. What do you mean?
Oh my God, dude! Everybody just like has like a picture of like a circle and a line through Joe Biden on their thing, and it's like, I mean, there's people still around, but like the majority of all that shit is just Russian.
And keep in mind, as I'm saying all this shit about Nazis, you guys, I just want to, especially for the new listeners, I'm a Jew. I look white, but I'm not your normal antithetical fucking apathetic white dude. No, I'm a Jew. I'm super sensitive to this shit. I'm saying, I believe I'm black. I believe I'm actually an eighth black as well.
I'm not at all. I'm just trying to be funny, but I think we're past that point.
I truly believe I'm seeing through the veil.
No, of course you are.
Listen, propaganda. But yes, my point is I think it's fucking actually hilarious that Putin is genuinely saying he's denazifying Ukraine to justify invading somebody's sovereignty.
Let's recapitulate real quick.
Hilarious.
Because that would be like if some organization... There's Nazis everywhere. So it'd be like if some organization was like, we need to bulldoze your house. Like, why? It's like, well, there's ants in your yard. Like, well, they're
exactly.
They're everywhere. Like, well, yes, but there's a lot here, and it's a threat to, I don't know. And then they just, we're like, okay, well, you got to move. We're going to bulldoze this. We got to get rid of those ants.
It's not an actual threat.
No, it's not an actual thing. Ants. And that's the thing. Yeah, I'm sure there is organizations like that there. All of Europe has real bad, like Northern Europe has worse problems with it than like... The guy who wrote The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, like, got in all this trouble because he was, like, kind of outing. Because everyone's like, America's racist. And it's like, yeah, but... I'm good, thank you. I still have some. But, like, we talk about it a lot more, at least. Where other countries are like, oh, see? Everyone in America's racist, not us. And they have a giant fucking neo-Nazi problem that they just
way worse
sweep under the fucking rug.
Dude, like...
But you can't just go, oh, we're going to blow them up. Because like, there's people like that fucking everywhere. And you deal with them ideologically and make it hard for them to function and exist. You don't go like, and so we're going to bomb elementary schools now. Like, that is psychotic. It's just propaganda. 100%. It's just state propaganda. That's all it is.
And like,
they know it works.
When you go to a professional sporting event in America, you don't hear the entire crowd chanting fucking anti-black sentiments, but that does happen in Europe at soccer games.
Oh boy, does it. Yeah, there is some old school. Well, that's the thing. There's old Europe. Here's the thing that people like never want to talk about, and it's how amazingly racist everywhere is. and we're just like, yeah, we have wild issues with it, and they're kind of specific to us. But like, when you're like, oh yeah, okay, only white people can be racist, I'm like, well, maybe in America, but like, have you ever been to like China and talked about Japan? Nobody hates each other more, and it's like that doesn't excuse anything here. But when people like to go like, everyone else is cool but us, I'm like, no, we're fucked up.
Maybe the Philippines and Japan.
They're fucked up too.
Maybe the Philippines and Japan, because the Filipinos absolutely hate the Japanese and they absolutely hate the Koreans. So that might be the only. one
I mean, China's like Taiwan doesn't exist. Like
I think they're honestly, man,
crazy over there.
It's anecdotal as fuck, but from personal experience, I do believe that I think Asian people are the most racist. Because they're super racist against their own people.
I worked with the most... He was about our age, I think, a long time ago. His name was Ku. He's a short, little, fat Hmong dude. He was the most racist person I've ever met in my life, and it was goddamn hilarious. Like, he would just funnier. Be like, fuck it, I can't even pretend to kind of even hint at what was coming out of his mouth.
Why is it never funny when white dudes are racist, but if, like, somebody else is racist, it honestly can be very funny. Like, when black people become racist, it's usually hilarious.
Well, also, Ku was adorable. He was a short, little, fat guy, and, like, he would just scream. Yeah, he used the N-word a lot. He used a lot of words I hadn't heard in a while. Like, he was like, whatever, but it was fun though, because then I could yell shit at him. Dude. Like I called him an awful little goblin. I called him a yellow N-word once. Like just at this shitty warehouse job I had over a decade ago.
Do you remember the OJ trial?
Oh yeah, I watched it in high school.
Do you remember when the
in school?
Do you remember when the forensic investigator? He was this Asian dude who spoke good English, but it was still like heavily accented.
Sure.
And the lawyer asked him, he's like, "Can you point him out in the room?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "All you white people look the same." The whole courtroom laughed like you just did, dude. And like everybody was
you
okay.
Don't expect it in court. That's
but if
so funny.
If that dude was white, like the whole room would have been like, "What the fuck?" All you black people look the same. That would have been fucked up. But when an Asian dude with an accent says, "All you white people look the same," the whole fucking courtroom just lost it laughing. And I was a kid
because you don't expect it. It's such a gut punch.
It's a good joke. It's a great joke.
That guy, and especially if the timing was perfect. And I imagine it probably kind of was. Cause just being
somebody could find the clip.
Can you point him out? It's like, no, I cannot point him out. It's like, well, why not? It's like, well, all you white people. just he let that pregnant pause if he's about to. And you're just going to be like, oh, he's going to be like anything but that. And then he does that. And dude, that's so funny.
I got jacked one time. I got robbed over north one time before I lived over here.
Yeah.
I was really young.
Over here one time, but before.
Yeah. I was over here. I was over north, but I didn't live here yet. And the cop asked me to describe the dude. And I described the black dude. He was a black dude. And I described his face, his haircut, the shirt he was wearing, and the shorts he was wearing. And he goes, "You just described every black dude on the north side." Like, because he was wearing a white t-shirt, blue jean shorts at the time, his haircut, he had a goatee, and he's like, "You just described a million black people across the country." I don't remember his exact words, but he was like, "That's the most worthless description I've ever heard in my life. You might as well have said it's a white dude with a mustache in Edina in 1984. Like, that's everyone,
the thing,
dude.
You can only describe weirdos. Like, even other white people, you're just like, well... Like, yeah, he had like a fade, but it kind of grown out a little bit, and like he was wearing like a t-shirt. It's like okay, well, who the fuck? But if you're like, oh, yeah, he was a ginger, but like bald on top, but had a skullet with like a Hitler mustache.
Yeah, you gotta get oddly specific.
Well, yeah, but you can't get oddly specific unless they're that big of a freak. You're like, maybe that's the trick. Like, if you imagine getting fucking robbed in like China or somewhere. Like, I'm not, but just like. It's a hegemonious...
Can you describe the guy? Yeah, he was Asian. Like that'd be the depth of what you have if you just got to China and got robbed.
Anywhere where really flamboyant style is not particularly a cultural thing, you'd be like, yeah, he's wearing like a button-up shirt and he had a short haircut. It'd be like getting robbed by a white guy in the 50s.
Right.
It'd be like he had a tie and like a slick back haircut.
Pinstripe suit.
Yeah, he was like clean shaven.
He had on a hat. He had on a nice hat.
Yeah, he was wearing a fedora.
No facial hair.
Gray pants. Yeah, like who? It would be like, was he fat or not? Like, that's it.
They'd have to ask you, like, did he have an accent? And you'd be like, Italian? And they go, you just described all of New York.
Yeah, if you were in, like, Wisconsin, they might figure it out. But
Right?
that's it. Like, yeah.
Oh, you mean Guido.
Yeah, you had like a white wife beater on, slick back black hair, kind of an Italian accent. You know, he's a little short, kind of had a little paunchy belly, but he kind of had guns a little bit. You know, he lifted, but then he kind of stopped. It's like, yeah, okay, it's everyone. That's the thing. It is like people go like, oh, because all white people do look the same. You even got robbed at a hipster festival.
So
you
we're
glasses
talking about
and a
stereotypes.
beard.
We're talking about stereotypes.
Yeah,
I got to tell you about something that happened today. You'll love this. Okay. So coincidentally, my wife asked me, she goes, did you check the mail today? And I go, yeah, I checked it several times and we just haven't gotten any yet, or we are not getting any at all. I don't know if the mailman actually came yet, because our mailman / mail woman, we're on an alternate route.
Female man.
That's stupid. That's hilarious, actually. That is super dumb, but that's why it's hilarious. A female man.
It's like Monty Python grade garbage.
But so basically the point is our mail delivery schedule is irregular because we're an alternate route, meaning it's a different person every day picks up our route in addition to their own.
Okay.
So we could get our mail at noon. We could get our mail at 7 p.m., right? So check this out. My wife asked me the question. I go, I'll go even check right now. So I walk out there, and as I'm walking out my front door, I shit you not, like it's the odds of me choosing this moment to go do this. I could have blown her off and been like, I got to get ready for the podcast. Right?
Yeah.
I walk outside. A red car pulls up in front of my house. As I'm trying to check my mailbox, a woman gets out of this car and she's coughing and like drooling like she's going to puke. She's probably smoking mad weed, right?
Yeah.
They probably hotboxed the shit out of that car and like she was fucking...
She hasn't had a breath of oxygen in like 25 minutes.
Like I genuinely believe what was coming out of her mouth, that was all weed related, because I've been there. I've been there. I've actually been there myself. However, she gets out of the car, drops her purse in the street, and this is directly in front of my house.
Yeah.
Bro. Not 15 feet in either. I mean, right here.
Yeah, it's like where I'm parked.
It probably is. Are you parked behind the black car? Because then it's literally where you're
I
at.
think so. I think I'm like right
so
by your
it's
walk.
literally in your spot. You might have walked through what I'm about to describe.
Yeah, I probably stepped in some dog shit on the way too.
This bitch pulls down her pants and starts pissing directly in front of my house. And I'm on my front steps. So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she looks at me and I go, take your nasty ass down the fucking street and go do that shit. Don't do that in front of my house. And she goes, I'll take my nasty ass down the street. I'm sorry. And dips and fucking gets back in the car and dips, dude.
That's what I would say too. I'd be like, I'll take my nasty ass elsewhere, sir.
Dude, I sat there and I thought to myself, I go, do you realize how many negative stereotypes you just enforced? Like I'm a very open-minded person. I understand what actually just happened. I've seen plenty of drunk white girls literally on a sidewalk
keep yelling. This story just made me have to pee. I'm going to go outside real quick and pee in the street.
But in all generosity, in all generosity, I'm like, damn, you're lucky it was me that found you. Because honestly, if I was some random ignorant racist white dude, I would just see one more stereotype to justify my bullshit case. Like, that's not the reality of how the vast majority of black people operate. But that's a hood rat in the hood, right? But I've seen plenty of drunk white girls in college, gorgeous white girls in college, fucked up in downtown Minneapolis, and they can't hold it any longer. And those white bitches will bend over and piss right on the sidewalk too. So as gross as that shit was, dude, I'm just saying, man, I don't know, dude. I'm going to get to some of these comments. Jeremy, this is a great comment, man. Jeremy, shout out to Jeremy Blake. Been on the podcast multiple times. Very, very smart dude. Used to be in a band with him. Very, very accomplished songwriter in my eyes. I don't know how much that means to the outside world, but Jeremy knows what that means. Jeremy says fringe outliers, because we were talking about the racists and the Twitters and the white supremacists. Jeremy says fringe outliers are just that. They're fringe outliers. They are propped up as the real threat whenever it supports whatever narrative either side is pushing. From a data perspective, from a data analytics standpoint, It drives me insane. And I agree with that 100%, man, because it's like Jack.
On outliers.
It's way too crazy.
Literally, they're outliers. Literally, it's not more of whatever's really going on.
Exactly. And is what we need to do is we need to stop acting as if the cultural narrative is actually on Twitter, because it's something crazy.
There's like 4 people that
90% of the tweets are made by 3% of the Twitter users.
Yeah, and that's only this is I actually wanted to I was thinking about this earlier. This is actually when people are like, because you know how I kind of rail against people like, well, both sides.
Oh, did you shut that water off, by the way?
Yeah.
When you were done? Thank you.
Yeah.
I left it on in between.
Oh, okay. But like, I had this whole thing about how it's like, yeah, there's people on the internet that are like, they're like 12, and they're like, yeah, they're probably weird. They're probably stuck in a small town, and 30 years ago, they would have just kept that all inside, moved to New York, found other people like them, joined a theater group or whatever.
Or become a drag queen or whatever.
Yeah, and they just like live their life. Now, we go through everyone's awkward phase as if it's on the main stage of the Super Bowl halftime show.
That is a great point.
And that's the thing. But here's the other thing. When people are like, well, there's weirdos on both sides. I'm like, okay.
True.
So I almost got ran off the road by a truck full of Trump stickers yesterday. But like, fucking green-haired, like, oh, they're going to like, that doesn't, there's like one 13-year-old doing all that. And then there's real people like rolling coal and waving guns out the window right there, like in real life in an actual blue
Seriously.
state. And it's like,
for real, dude.
I'm like, how many they-thems have you met that just wreck your day versus how many people were like about to ram into the back of your car, but Prius, like those people are actually out there in a problem. And then this other thing is like a straw man. It's like, okay, yeah, there's some weird fucking confused theater kids on Twitter. They're disproportionately powerful, but
no, think about it. You're right, dude. So there's two folds to the argument you're talking about. And this ties back into what we were talking about earlier, the Russian troll farms that we know exist.
Yeah.
Nobody's arguing this anymore.
Oh, they are.
This was debatable a while ago. Now there's empirical data.
No smart people are.
Well,
plenty of people are still arguing it.
I would say if you're still arguing it, it's ignorance, not stupidity. Right? Because
willful. Okay.
You have to be flat out just not looking at because the data is empirical.
Well, you got to remember, it's confirmation bias for enough people where
troll
they're
farms exist.
I would know better, but the troll farms are speaking my language, baby.
Fair. I see what you're saying.
So there's a lot of that.
Fair. But period, end of story, troll farms exist.
Mm-hmm.
Data's empirical. The jury's out. We're done.
There. Oh, yeah.
It's there. Combine that with the anonymity that we all know about. Again, no one disputes the anonymity and the keyboard warriors of the internet.
Yeah.
However, is what nobody is willing to fucking talk about is that you might be in a current Twitter war with an actual 13-year-old child posing as an adult.
Yeah.
Stop.
No, I know.
Be the adult. Stop actually letting these children trigger you, who's an actual adult. And what I mean by this, here's our example. That Trump rally where all those children between the ages of 13 and 18 were trolling Trump. They went and reserved tickets to his rally.
Yeah, the
and
K-pop fans just fucked him up.
And then
that
they
was
didn't
great.
show up. So Trump suddenly had like 16,000 people in a 100,000 people venue.
It was like 8,000. It was
probably less.
I
don't know what it was. It was honestly, if you have 16,000 in a 100,000 person venue, we've all played shows like this. It's empty.
Yeah.
It's empty. It might as well be 12 people because it doesn't fucking matter. There's no one there.
It doesn't feel good.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're giving way too much credit to the world when in reality, most of us our age are literally being trolled by either Russian troll farms or actual children. And I know this to be true because as I've been like getting ready to start truly online game streaming and shit on my Twitch. I've been building my Twitch channel. We do the podcast on Twitch and shit, but I'm starting to game a little bit more and I'm getting ready to like actually do that part of the deal.
Sure.
Dude, these fucking kids are smart, dude. I'm telling you right now, dude.
Oh, I know.
These kids
They're
that are
fascinating
between 17 and 22 years old, they are significantly wiser and smarter than we were at that age.
Why would they not be?
It's not even fucking comparable, to be honest. I'm blown away. I have conversations with these kids and I like develop mild, loose friendships with them. Like
sure,
I look
it's the internet.
I look forward to gaming with them and hanging out with them because it's voice chat. It's voice
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. No, you get to.
It's almost like a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Dude, and then later, I find out, like, this kid's 23 years old. And I respect this kid's opinions on world culture and politics more than most of the adults I know.
Well, of course.
So to go back to what we were talking about, Gen Z being all awesome.
Oh,
and
I
shit,
like them. No, yeah.
they're fucking dope, dude.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, there's
And
so
our
many people out
generation
there
are the
that are
ones who
like,
are being the idiots right now.
I got fucking horse sense and I understand how the world works. And it's like, okay, you were homeschooled by 2 generations of people that grew up on a dirt road that were just like, yeah, well, These kids grew up with like everything you'd ever want to know at your fingertips, and they know how to use it correctly. And I'm just like,
they know how to sift through the troll bullshit.
They do.
They can.
That's critical thinking. That's Jeremy's job, teaching that. Which I actually would still need to get a beer with him, because I might remember I talked about getting a day job. I'd like to do that, like to be instructor for adults on like, okay, here's how you sift through this stuff. 'Cause that'd be fun. Be like, A, I get to hear myself talk. Bonus. B, like it's a subject that like
I love that you admit that.
I fucking like how fucking hypocritical would it be? If I was like, no, I'm not a loudmouth. We know,
but Jeremy's going to start a podcast.
Yeah, he should.
Called.
I'll be on it.
Well, it's already called. He's already decided. He's doing it. It's called "Don't Be That Guy." And
That's
what
good.
he explained to me is it's basically the idea of trying to figure out the modern day man and what our mindset should be between being an alpha male, right? Because there are guys that are actual alpha males, but we don't need to be toxic douchebags, right? And then also finding that balance between mental health, being vulnerable, being emotionally healthy, all those things, right?
If he does this right, he's going to be the one guy to actually get huge doing
this. I know. That's what I told him too. I said that shit'll fucking blow up. I said whatever. But here's my point.
I want to be your co-host, Jeremy. That sounds so interesting.
Don't do that.
I will.
No, he'll have you on as a guest. But here's my point.
I will be toxic.
I lost my point. I forgot what I was trying to say.
Jeremy's starting the thing that how to be. No. I thought about this though. How to be a modern, because I don't subscribe to like, old school, like, fuck you, lady, get out of the way. But I also, I worked at the garage forever.
Well, let's give him his
like,
first talking point. Because first of all, I hate this idea, right? Not his idea. I hate this idea of how we talk about what being a man and an alpha male is. Here's the deal. Because this also starts dipping into like gender identities and gender fluidity, right? Mm-hmm. So like people say being a man, that's a social construct. And I go, no. Slow down. Being a man is absolutely your sex, your thing, right?
Right.
Gender identity and social constructs, here's what that is. And these terms, we've already been through this. This is what frustrates me, dude. We've already been through this, man. You have effeminate males, you have metrosexual males, you have a man's man, you have ladies' man, you have different types of dudes, and you have a spectrum of definitions of what it means to be a man, right? So you'll talk to a 24-year-old.
Also very cultural too, depending on where you are.
Exactly. You'll talk to a 24-year-old dude who says being a man means fucking kicking ass and then you'll hear another dude that says being a man means fucking eating shit and cashing checks and fucking doing all the dirty work and being humble and fucking blah 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 behind the scenes so your wife and your children can thrive. Guys will say being a man is fucking making sure that everything you're doing is setting your children up so they don't have to suffer the same lifestyle you did growing up. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
These are completely arbitrary to what anything we're actually talking about. So when Jeremy starts his podcast and wants to have, because he's already said, like, eventually he's going to have on guests and he wants to talk about these things. And I think that's really where it starts, is like, we got to stop acting like there's one definition of being a man. Stop acting like society decides. No, we decide. We are society. And I have my own definition.
Roll the punches a little bit too, because things change and they change fast. So it's like you can't get too married, to some real particular idea.
You're correct.
Because you got to be like, yo, what does being a man mean like right now?
Because in 1883,
it was way different.
It meant being a killer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, being a man meant being willing to kill other men.
Yes.
Because you were on the fucking Oregon. Watch 1883, by the way. It's a great show.
Or Back to the Future 3 with Buford Tannen.
Can you do me a favor? Can you bump that camera up?
This one?
I don't think it dropped. No, not the camera. Do the whole stand. Yeah, just pull it up, straight up. That's good. That's way too. Oh, that's perfect now. Right.
I knew there'd be some.
So,
All right.
So basically, yeah, go watch 1883 on Paramount Plus. Like that's what in 1883.
Ooh, I think
that's
I have
what,
that.
dude. I'm telling you, it's like Game of Thrones meets Westworld.
Cool,
dude. It is amazing. It's like here's what the show is.
A real good cowboy Game of Thrones would be great.
It's literally the show is literally the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
It actually is just straight up that. Fuck Game of Thrones meets Westworld. It's actually just straight up the Oregon Trail with guns, with real guns.
One of my better in the last few months punchlines, just talking about it's such a long story, but just like not everybody makes it to the end of the Oregon Trail. The reason that like so many people are so weird is like, yeah, people are like 2 generations ago, like no one cared about their kids because you used to have 10 because only 2 would survive. I tell this thing, I was like, my great-grandfather asked my mother in front of me when I was in 2nd grade, you didn't name this one already, did you? Well, that's going to be a sad day. But that was his generation, and not everyone makes it to the end of the Oregon Trail. Like that always, it's part of a longer bit, but it always gets a good. That'd be one of my like save it for Acme.
100%, dude. But I used to get that from my grandma, dude. She thought I was a girl because I had long hair because I was into metal. Like it wasn't in her cultural understanding that men had long hair. It was bizarre because I used to have hair down below my tits.
Jesus a girl, grandma? Oh, you're Jewish. Never mind.
They're Christians.
Okay.
We're Jews by blood, not by practice.
Okay. So you suck Jewish blood. So you're real Christians. The cool kind that eat Jews. I don't even know where I'm going with that. But
I claim to be Jew because I think it's hip.
I wish I was anything. Actually, no, I don't. It's awesome. It's such an ambiguous. Like, just speaking of like, what is it to be a man? I love that I was dealt such a "you're a man" card by circumstance and genetics, and I've just wasted it. Like when I wear, like sometimes I'll wear like a boring suit just to run errands, and people like, I'll be like at Cub, you know, like, hey, where is this? I'm like, right, like maybe I own Cub. Like they don't know. Like I look like such a like slab of just fail upwards like man fucking white bullshit where I just run everything that it's like if I wear a gray suit and a red tie, people are just like are you the boss of me? Because it seems like you're the boss of me. I'm like, oh my god, no one should be in charge less than me. But like just the weird genetic hand of like, you know, I think that's informed my life a little bit, and Alexis would back me up. She's probably in bed now. But like being someone that someone can trust, I think there was that Louis C.K. bit where he talked about the number one killer of women is men. Yeah. And it's like, can you imagine dating if you're a woman? It's like a mix between like a grizzly bear and a chimp. And you're like, I hope this one's nice. And it's like, hopefully I don't die. So when that thing, like, you know, like usually right before the panties actually would come down, be like, it's weird. I just trust you, you know? I would hear that all the time. All the time. And that was in my wedding vows, too. That was the first. Oh, by the way, I made everyone cry. I love being good at writing. Like, at my wedding, I was like, I talked about how, like, love, but in my vows, I was like, but here's the thing that I've never given anyone. I trust you. Because I don't even trust me. But I trust you. And like, I mean, like, the grandpa, the efficient, like, I wrote it. I'd have to look at it to do it correctly, but I also memorized it and then was like, I'm not going to read it off a thing. I'm going to memorize it and then do it from the heart best I can in the moment. But like, trust is such a big thing. And particularly from a man, though, because a man can kill you. And if you're like, I feel like I trust you is such a thing where it means I'm about to fuck you from like a woman, because it's like, not only are you not going to kill me, but I feel like maybe if I asked you real nice, you'd kill someone else for me. Like just that. You want to talk about playing guitar? Nah, that's the real. You don't even need to know how to talk after that. That's a very.
Well, I've always joked, dude, that if I was built like Jeremy Blake, I'd have already conquered the world. Like my biggest problem is that I'm a
skinny, you'd be in prison.
Like I have the mind of what a bunch of douchebags would call an alpha male. Like I'm assertive. I don't take shit from people. I'm willing to fight. Right, like the toxic douchebag alpha male thing. Right.
Yeah.
Like mentally, yeah. Like I'm not afraid of any of that bullshit. Like that's why all the black dudes in the hood respect me. It's like that fucking Dave Chappelle joke. Don't fuck with the white dude in the hood.
Yeah.
Whatever that white dude had to do to gain the respect of all them black folk, You don't want to fuck with
like
that white dude.
the one white rapper and the huge fucking rap crew of like 9 people.
Fuck with anybody but the white dude, because white dude's clearly crazy. Because to gain respect from all black people as a white person, you have to fucking be a certain type of personality. And that's a fucking crazy person. That's me. That's me. But physically, I'm a beta male. Like, until I get in a fight, people don't respect me. I used to get picked on in middle school and high school because I was pretty. I was literally a pretty boy.
I can't imagine.
I was a pretty boy. I was a very pretty boy.
Okay.
And I got picked on and I got beat up. That's how I learned to fight. Because I got sick of getting beat up. You know? Like, I wasn't always good at fighting, you know?
No,
and then same thing. Like, same thing with my personality, with my assertiveness, with my confidence.
You're a boy named Sue.
I had to learn how to do all those things to stop being picked on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like...
You know what? It is funny.
It's a complicated issue is what I'm getting at here. And it's fucking hilarious if you think about it, because it's absolutely
I do think
absurd.
about it. Because I'll tell you something that absolutely lines up with that. I was born September 6, 1980. That's my birthday. And September 6 is like when school starts, right? So I was very close to the like, do you go this class or this class? And I remember hearing my mom talking with some school administrator. It was the olden days, you went like with in a real place. So you weren't, but it wasn't an email. And they were like, well, with boys, he could either start this year or this year, but maybe start him the next year. And it's so funny. It was such a I was like an aging drag queen when I was a little kid. I was just like, oh, are you saying we're stupid? Well, fuck you. Like, I remember thinking that. I remember
you had like the sassiness of a gay man.
Oh, yeah. But old, like I'm done fucking, but I'm still just like, you want me to do what now? But like, yeah, very much. Actually, I still do. But the thing was,
you're the gayest straight dude I've ever met.
I know, which is funny because I'm also like the most of like a big slab of man that just
usually
pushes people around.
Refer to me that way. They go, "You're the gayest straight dude I've ever met," but you top me in every respect.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's actually a flex because I'm like, I'm gonna wear a Speedo today. Does anyone have a problem with that?
Like Bert Kreischer?
No. Like, it's like I'll kill you. Like, but here's the thing. I didn't get it back then, but it wasn't because, boys are stupid. Like, I don't know why. But they're like, no, it's because you don't want him to be the smallest kid in the class. So since I was on the fence, I started kindergarten in 86 rather than 85. Because I was about to be kind of a bigger guy, I was huge in school. And I didn't get it, though. Like, because I was a dork. I was just like, oh, whatever. It took until, like, somewhere around 7th or 8th grade until, like, because people would pick on me and stuff. And then I was like... They're like that, though. So they'd be like, hey, you're fake. And that's when I started, like, I never learned to, like, fight, but I finally realized that I was like, someone would be like, hey, boo. I'd be like, hey, check this out. Bam! Just, like, bash their head into a wall because, like, I could palm. Because, again, already a bigger guy, and then that year, almost a year older. It was almost like I got held back. So, like this. And I was like, hey, shut up. And then, like, somewhere after puberty, I was like, cool. And they were like, I'm not a big, like, I took martial arts stuff and for fun and exercise. Right. I'm not like a big fighter, but I fought a little bit because I could just wring their neck. Like, I was like so much bigger than everyone. And I didn't get that meant that I could listen to Marilyn Manson back in 1994 when people were like, right, is that a chick or a dude? I'd be like, I like it. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah. Cool, John.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It spoke to my fucking undeserved confidence. Probably comes from like eventually the football players like, so what are we doing today? We're going to go break the window? I'm like, yeah, let's break, because I was also a bastard.
Yeah.
But I was in all the advanced classes, too, so I'm just like, are you a smart kid? I'm like, yeah, I'm smart enough to say, let's break this thing.
God,
like,
that's so similar to my fucking high school and middle school. Like, I was in all the advanced placement classes, but I was super violent because through middle school I had gotten picked on.
Oh, that
I
learned how to
and I learned how to fight.
Yeah.
So I was not taking any shit. Plus, by the time high school came around, dude, I was...
Baby, go to sleep. You gotta get up early tomorrow.
Oh, she was answering you.
Yeah,
she said yes, she's in bed, but no, she's not sleeping.
Yeah, you need to sleep. Get your sleep.
But that reminds me so much because I was getting picked on in middle school. Well, I also went to boarding school where I got my ass kicked. That's where I learned how to fight. I went to boarding school.
Hey, what is boarding school? You hear about it in things, right? I don't really know what that is.
Okay, so boarding school is literally you being sent away for an arbitrary reason. Okay. and I literally mean this, it's a made up reason. So you could go to a military boarding school where your parents want you to learn discipline. You could go to a God, there's a word for it, like a Montessori school.
Oh,
where they do it for like little kids.
Yep, that's a little kid thing. I know that.
You can do that for teenagers, like getting ready to go into adulthood, where they teach you specific things. Their boarding schools can also be very correctional, which is where I went. That's why I got sent to boarding school. It was the alternative to a juvenile correctional facility.
Yes.
Right. So when I went, it was a very violent place. And I was 12 to 13 years old getting in actual fights with 15 and 16-year-olds, which at that age is a massive difference.
Yeah, they're like 3 feet taller than you.
Dude, it was crazy. And I was getting my ass kicked by more than one person. It wasn't even always one-on-one fights. Sometimes I was getting jumped, right? Like, it was fucked up, dude. I could have died. Everybody in that fucking boarding school could have died at any point in time.
Yeah.
Half of us ended up getting molested by the staff. Like, it's a dark part of my life. I'm going to do an entire series of podcasts telling that entire story.
You should.
From 12 to 14 years old when I was in boarding school. It's a fucked up part of my life. But it also changed me and made me a better human being. Because I saw the true darkness of humanity. And I seen what...
It's good to know that.
I understood what discipline and dedication mattered. I suddenly realized why you don't want to be a fuck up. I suddenly realized why you don't want to be a criminal. Like, so many things finally clicked for me in my life. That's why I don't even resent my parents for sending me to boarding school. Like, I ain't even mad about it. Like, it saved my life. I'm fucked up because somebody else in my life got referred to that same boarding school and they got molested. So, like, I'm super conflicted and fucked up about it because some bad shit. In fact, dude tried to diddle me, and I knocked his teeth out and then got kicked out of that boarding school. That's the irony. Like, I got sent there for correctional behaviors and got kicked out for correctional behaviors. But once I came home, I realized the difference. Like, that's a huge deal. I got sent there for one reason. I got kicked out for another, all having to do with violence.
Yes.
However, when I came home, I became a pacifist but I wasn't afraid to fight. When I say pacifist, I mean I'm non-aggressor.
Demons run when a good man goes to war.
A non-aggressor. That's what I'm not a pacifist. I'm not a pacifist. I need to stop saying that. I'm not a pacifist. I'm a non-aggressor. I am not going to start a fight with you. But if you commit violence against me or anybody I care about and I'm there, you're getting fucked up. Like I can't not do anything about it.
You know what I like to call myself recently? This came up, actually. I'm a farmer. Because, like, people that have actually seen military action and stuff, like the real ones, they don't like talking about it. It's, like, different than the people that kind of pretended they did or whatever. They're like, if I was that guy, I would have fucking... It's like the real guys are like, oh. I'm a farmer. Where it's like, listen, I want this to all work. I want it to all work well. But every once in a while, part of it doesn't work. It has to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel the least bit bad about it, like Butch and Pulp Fiction. Like, it's just, listen, like, this wasn't fun, but I'm also not going to lose an hour of sleep. This is just the way it has to be, because ultimately, without this intervention, everything would have been worse. It is what it is. A reckoning may come someday, who knows, in this life or the next. But this had to be fixed, and I think I did the right thing. And that's almost pacifism. It's very close.
Yeah.
It's almost pacifism in that stopping further violence is perhaps the height of pacifism, really, if you think about it, although some violence may occur along the way for that. But that's all it is. It's a means to an end. It's a very, like... But it's weird. Like, I came out with that a while ago. I'm like, you know what I am? It's like, this isn't fun. It's not cool. It's not great. I won't shy from it, but I'm just a farmer. It's just like, well, that cow, he was attacking the other cows. He didn't have a good mind. I could send him somewhere else, but he would just die of starvation. No one would take care of him. I had to put him down. That's all there is to it, and that's how you make sure everything keeps working good for everyone else, and you care about them, and that's why you do that. So I'm like, I'm a farmer. Yeah. I'm a farmer, daddy. Like, that's what I am. Like, and I think you kind of are too, and that's the best way I can explain it.
No, that's 100%. That's a great analogy, dude, because to me, and this is actually, that not only is that a great analogy, but I think that's kind of a great way to sum up my point, is that, to me, that's kind of the definition of being a man, is like, you do whatever you need to do.
You're the farmer.
And that doesn't mean you do whatever you need to do to eat tomorrow. You do whatever you need to do to eat next year. To me, that's what being a man is. Being a man,
you put things in place to
is you're looking at always the bigger picture.
Good night, baby. Happy All Snakes Day to you too. And also, by the way, we'll keep going with that, but I want to talk about St. Patrick's Day.
No, I'm done.
Okay, because I like what we're talking about.
I feel like I summed up my point pretty well.
I think you did too. Yeah.
Like you're doing this is. I'll say it one more time just in case anybody missed it. To me, being a man means you're not doing what you need to do to eat or survive tomorrow. You're doing what you need to do to eat and survive a year from now.
Yes.
And that includes if you're single or if you're married or have a family or you're part of a community.
Yes.
Like you do your fucking job and you're always thinking about the long run. If you're not being a man, right? This has nothing to do with women, by the way. This has to do with dudes who aren't being men.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Dudes who aren't being men is what that really means to me is that they're children. Like, this isn't a men versus women
Yeah,
argument.
it's almost more like, what does being an adult mean?
That's fucking thank you. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
More, because everyone needs to be an adult when they're an adult, and that's the,
And that's what I'm saying.
Because the worst people, by the way, Alexa said she's going to bed. She has an awful relative that kind of got excommunicated from the family, and her family's really cool, so it's like they really fucked up. And she was like, this woman is a 50-year-old baby. I was like, that's how you describe everyone.
Do you have another one of those, by the way?
Of these?
Yeah.
No, I have different ones. You want?
I'll take one here.
Okay, I bought some in Vegas that I don't think they're like awesome or anything, but
but it smells really good, and I want to try it.
Okay.
Or I'll try whatever you got. This is the first night in months that I'm out of cigars because my sponsor, he was out of town.
Yeah.
So I emailed him, or I didn't. I texted them. I don't email them. Why did I say email? What the fuck is up with me tonight?
Actually doesn't.
Why am I tonight?
Bert, it doesn't have to be true.
Why am I under exaggerating things tonight? That's my point. It's like it's okay if I'm over exaggerating things because that's entertainment. But why am I selling myself short on a regular basis? That's weird. I don't do that usually.
It doesn't actually
make
a giant difference.
No, I texted them and they were like, "Oh, we're out of town this week. Just tell us what you want and we'll send it as soon as we get back in town." Because I have a sponsor that sends me cigars.
Yeah, which is dope as hell.
Shout out to Marco V Cigars sponsor discount. It's all in the description. Point being,
these came from like this weird little liquor store in Vegas. They weren't super cheap, but they weren't they were just weird. I didn't know what they were, so I bought a bunch of them.
No, I know these cigars. This is where I started. Yep.
Is
Cuban
it? Okay.
rounds.
Because I just got them because I wanted I love, by the way, I have a sister who's...
I'm going to hook you up with some good cheap cigars.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd love that.
I'm going to hook you up, dude, because I'm telling you right now, I know these cigars, and these are probably your best bang for your buck. And what this is called is a Cuban sandwich. So what this means is that this entire cigar is made up of shavings from real cigars. They kind of pile them up.
Oh, and it's like Spam.
And then they,
or Velveeta cheese.
Yep. And they machine roll
things that I love.
This is one of the best Cuban sandwiches on the market.
And that was literally, these were at the checkout aisle. They were the only cigars they had there.
I didn't realize this is what you were smoking.
Yeah. It was just this random, I was buying liquor for our wedding because I was like, here, I'll mix drinks. And Luke's, my sister's boyfriend, probably soon to be husband, Luke is like, hey,
Marco,
he's like
Marco, if you're watching this, dude, forgive me, but you don't give me any shit, dude.
But these are fun though because they have a story. They came from a dive liquor store in the outskirts of Vegas because I wanted to smoke cigars with my your new wife, brother, and my sister's probably soon to be husband. So I kind of have these dudes now. I never had a brother, you know. So and both of them are cool for different reasons. And I was like, we should smoke cigars. So I was buying bourbon and gin and shit. And I was like, ooh, cigars. I didn't do any research. I didn't pay any attention. They were at the checkout aisle. I'm like, I'm getting 9 of these. And these are the few that were just left. I'm like, I'll bring these because I don't have any other shit to smoke.
Oh man, this is what got me back into cigars, dude. I quit smoking and I was like, dude, it was my third or fourth day and I was kind of having a bad day. So I was like, you know what? I got to go get a cigar because I know I'm not going to hail it. So I know the nicotine level that I'm going to intake is going to be significantly less, which, by the way, is 100% true. When you hear people...
Yeah. Because a cigarette... Well, that's the one thing I've heard, like, Rogan talk about with hanging out with Chappelle. He's like, I smoke cigars, but then I had one of Chappelle's cigarettes, and I was like, felt like I was just doing, like, crack. I was like, whoa!
Yeah. That's why
when you're not used to it.
And even my buddy, my roommate, he's a very, very intelligent human being. They say, like, well, the nicotine content in a cigar... It's like an entire pack of cigarettes.
If you suck it into your lungs, but you don't do that.
Exactly. That's my point.
You stick them in your ass.
Because I'm telling you, dude, if I smoked a cigarette tonight, I would be fully addicted by tomorrow morning, like getting a pack of cigarettes again.
Yeah.
But I could smoke 6 cigars.
Wait, did you, like, quit cigarettes?
Yeah, back in October.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I haven't smoked a
cigarette. I actually noticed
that
there was only cigars and you haven't been smoking cigarettes. So
yeah,
I pieced it together, but I wasn't there for it.
I think I caught COVID.
You might have.
I was super sick, and I was coming out of it, and then I was sitting down here smoking cigarettes. I was literally in this chair right here, and I was smoking a cigarette, and I was like...
Doctors from the 1950s are like, we have a cure for COVID, cigarettes.
I looked at it, which nicotine actually prevented COVID, but I looked at it. I looked at the cigarette. I looked at the cigarette and I was like, I think I'm done smoking. And I put the cigarette out. I went upstairs and I told my wife, I go, I think I just quit smoking. And she goes, really? Like, she didn't believe me, obviously.
By the way, but the funny part about her reaction is, like, you're like Uncle Buck. You're like, I'm quitting cigarettes. I'm on a 5-year plan. First I switch to cigars, then pipes, then chewing tobacco, and then I move on to nicotine gum. Like, yeah, baby, I'm quitting smoking. It's so fucking great I could jog again.
But the point is I don't choose to, but I can easily go a day or two without a cigar.
Right, with cigarettes, it would be a lot harder, I think.
Fucks your world up.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad. Like, I ran out of cigars because my sponsor's out of town and they couldn't mail them out. They'll probably end up here tomorrow. I was hoping they would get here today because I wanted to share some good cigars.
Oh, that'd be fun. Well, I brought some
Next
weird
time.
Las Vegas fucking checkout aisle ones.
No, these are legit. You can go to fucking Central. Any tobacco shop in town has Cuban rounds.
Really?
Every single place in town.
The one thing I was
cigars.
hoping is that there was some weird thing that were like cheap, but they were just from Nevada or something. But oh well.
Nope.
Whatever.
These are probably your best bang
because you could
for your
smoke
buck.
inside there. That's fun. Like we were just smoking cigars in the casino and screaming.
No, I've said this over and again.
All right.
At that $5 price limit in the cigar shop or liquor store, whatever,
wherever it was. Yeah, it was some fucking.
You can't get a better price cigar than this. But I will tell you this, and I got to teach you this over time because you like cigars.
Oh sure, yeah.
When you get to $6 and $7, which is not that much more.
No, I know. I've had nicer that I bought. Like I have. But.
Literally, as soon as you go $1 more, you get to actual premium tobacco long filler cigars.
Yeah.
And then is you have issues with construction and shit. A whole nother story. But long story short, dude, these are actually surprisingly good cigars.
Yeah.
Fucking, I told you.
No, that's fine.
We're officially
I bought my
up.
little this guy. I think
Punch?
Is that one of those things? Yeah, I bought that at the checkout aisle too.
Mm-hmm.
I have it on my keychain as if I smoke more than once a month. But it was just like, hey, this is cool. And we had a checked bag, so I bought it. I almost brought my.
You know where I want to take you?
Huh?
I want to take you to either Anthony's Cigar Lounge right here in Minneapolis,
yeah.
or I want to take you up to Tobacco Grove up in Maple Grove.
I'd love to do that. I haven't actually gone to like a hey. You can like sit in the back and like smoke cigars and like there's a few places like that and it's cool.
The best part is if I take you to Anthony's and we do it right, we get to go into the secret room for the rich people.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Cause I'm connected with Marco V.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I get the ability to be in that world.
That's always fun.
I might be able to get us in that bottom basement room where fucking you walk in that room and you go, oh my God, this feels like we're in New York right now. Like there's parts. I just want to say this because I got to piss one more time. There's parts of Minneapolis.
Oh, I know.
That the vast majority of us don't know exist. There's an underworld where
it's fun. It's awesome. No, I got like a lot of my life has been predicated on just being that same way that like, I would always get laid by, hey, I just really trust you. That works on everybody for everything. Like, it was just kind of like you sit there talking with them for a while and like, hey, do you want to see the back? Like, so often has that happened. And I know what you're saying exactly, where it's just like, yeah, I just was bullshitting with the guys at the liquor store, so they brought me to their like weird private illegal still. Yeah, but shit, like that's like, no, I love. There's no, people who are like, people look at me funny, I fuck them up. But like, dude, being charming is so much awesomer than being an aggressive maniac. Like just like sitting there being like, hey, I made a new friend today, and he let me like, shoot a gun that he stole from some other country when he was in the army. Like, there's never any harm in just talking to people and being fun. And I love that. And I know exactly what you're saying. That was my thing with the Renaissance Festival. There was a year that I went that I was only in people's tents out back, and I never went into the thing at all. I was just doing ecstasy and running around with no pants on. And like, I never set foot in the front part even once. And it's like, because I just made friends with a bunch of people, and they're like, hey, you're fun. Do you want to go back here? It's like, hey, you're not a wizard. You're just not wearing pants. I'm like, same thing, baby. And
that's when we go to local shows and festivals and shit where we know people. And it's like, I never watched a single band, but partied for an entire day backstage.
Yep.
Like, I could have walked out stage, and I just don't remember it because that's how hard we were partying. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. And we used to joke about this over the last 6 months to a year on, you should lick that first. Otherwise, and then don't press very hard. Otherwise, you'll pop out the side, which I just did.
I know. These aren't, they come apart.
Well, it's not even the cigar. It's the fact that you're pushing mass, right? And it only has one place to go, which is
I'm
out.
going to call it a mess. Yeah, that's. But
yeah, it's a weird balance to make, but no, that's why I joke about like if I was built like Jeremy, I'd already run the world. Yeah. But I wonder too, like that's probably not true because
you might be a little bit more complacent. You'd be like, yeah, whatever, things are good. Yeah, I kind of get what I want. It's all great.
Or I'd have gotten a little cockier because I was bigger, right? Like I wouldn't have had as many things
60
to work
days
on.
In guy.
I just wouldn't have had as many flaws and insecurities if I was.
You'd have nothing to work on. And that process is what makes us interesting. And so you could end up just being boring.
And Jeremy's about to jump into chat if he's still watching. Probably had to go to sleep, but if he's not and he jumps into chat, he's about to be like, bitch, I used to be exactly your size.
Yeah. No, he's only become a more massive guy. Oh, yeah, though. Before the podcast, I dressed in green and everything, and I'm drinking beer. But I wanted to bitch about St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, happy fucking St. Patrick's Day. Or as Alexis said, All Snakes Day. Like, we have pet snakes, and I could annoyingly talk about them like someone with kids if I wanted to, because they're interesting.
I would definitely want to do that next time you come on in a couple months.
Yeah.
Let's start the podcast on snake.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've learned a few things where people are like, they don't recognize their owners. I'm like, they don't all, some of them do. And you can tell it's very interesting. But anyhow,
I agree with you because my buddy has snakes, and when he walks up to the fucking tank, they wake up and come like they're going to get fed.
Oh, one of them knows her name.
When I walk up to the tank, they don't get. I'm just a person.
Well, listen, there's a couple of them that we do have a python who is pretty much indifferent to the world, but the other two. I'll keep this short and I'll get to St. Patrick's Day. But we have a corn snake that 100% knows her name. And that's wild because people are like, oh, that particular species especially doesn't. And I'm like, okay, like I'll be in the room she's in, right? And I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. She won't move an inch. And I'll be like, yeah. Here, Lilu. And she'll like, come out. Like, it's so
wow.
Yeah. It's 10 out of 10 times, too. I show people when they come over. I'm like, watch this. Like, oh, you're just loud. I'm like, no, yeah. Let's just talk for a while. Yeah, Lilu. And she'll like make this jerky movement to kind of come out. It's so crazy. She definitely knows her name.
That is wild.
The other one, the hognose, those ones are particularly smart too. They're venomous, which those tend to be smarter in general because like cobras recognize their owners, and then they were like, and these ones do, and these ones. They figured it out more and more. But the hognose, who's venomous, when we left for our wedding, we had Bill just watch the house and refill their water. They need to eat. They eat like once a week or so. But like he'd go in there and she'd come out and like look at him and stuff. Like Persephone's very like visual. But when I came back and I was just like, saw her out, she did the thing I've never even seen her do. She was doing this at me. She was like she was like, is that you? Is that, hey, like it was crazy. Like Anyway, we're real big on the snakes, and we really care. But we made friends with the people in Snake Discovery, which is fun because they're like a YouTube channel with 4 million subscribers, but they have a brick and mortar in town. Is where we get all our rats and stuff. And they're in Maplewood. But the people that are on that channel that I've watched forever, and we were like, hey, they're from here. And then they like opened a zoo. Like they have like rattlesnakes and things you can't buy, like in the back.
Fucking crazy.
It's really fun, by the way. You should go there sometime. It's like
we should go there and shoot some content.
Oh, we could. Their zoo in the back, like they have an alligator named Rex that'll it's really fun, and they're world famous, like very famous, like it's crazy, and they're so nice. And we're like, we kind of like made buddy with them because we're like, well, we're getting this substrate. It's like, oh, that's a good choice. Why are you doing that? It's like, walking around, we notice it's what you guys use, and you know what you're doing. And they're like, no one's ever said that, but that's actually really smart. I'm like, yeah. They're really cool. Anyhow, you know, it's we're real big on the snake thing, and that's the thing about St. Patrick's Day is that it's this like wacky. It's like a green Trump rally. It's when all the idiots dress like dumbasses and get into car accidents. It's like, okay, this sucks, but like, because I'm an adult, I don't want to. I'll be here. That's fun, but I'm not going to go out. You know, but the other thing is they were like, oh, they St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland, and it's like. No, there was no physical snakes that anybody drove out, for one thing. That wasn't a thing. They meant when we replaced paganism with Christianity. Like, all holidays that everyone's like, you're ruining it. I'm like, you ruined it. Like, you ruined it 1,000 years ago, you fucks. You get everything.
I thought he really did move out the snakes.
There were no snakes. I mean, there were, but none of them were venomous or anything. Like, venomous snakes are such a, like, arid climate. Like, there's no Northern European gaboon vipers. Like, those are all in, like, Australia and Africa and, like...
Texas.
Yeah, it's very rare. We do have pine rattlers here, but that's literally
we do have rattlesnakes all the way up into Iowa, but...
No, we have them here. Pine rattlers. Oh, yeah.
Do we?
Yep, they hibernate, but we got them. They have them in the Snake Discovery Zoo. That's where I learned that. But, yeah.
Okay.
They're not mega...
So they're native to the northern...
Or no, I'm sorry,
Midwest
not
America?
timber rattlers. That's why that's how you know, like timber wolf. They're in the same areas.
Oh,
That's the whole thing with those. And they are a little different, but they are, you know, you don't want to get bit by one, but they're nice. They warn you, you know, they rattle and you leave them alone. But
yeah, and the whole thing with snakes is you walk with a heavy foot in nature, and snakes are more afraid of you.
They don't want to bite you because their venom is biologically expensive. That's for their prey. That's not for you. They don't want to do that. Plus, biting you kills you an hour later. You could stomp them to death before that. So it's not really like they want to be. They're just like, hey! They evolved the rattle to just go like, you know, it would be easier if you just left us alone. So it's like, if people are like, I don't like rattlesnakes, it's like, they're doing you a favor. But regardless, so there was nothing like that in Ireland. It was just an allegory. And there's a huge... It's fascinating. There's so many religious things where like snakes are the prior, you know, it's just like, oh, the snake in the Garden of Eden, you know, like all this stuff. They are a metaphor for like paganism a lot because there's a lot of pagan things that are like, oh, snakes are actually our protectors because plagues and things tend to spread through exactly what snakes kill and eat. And rodents. Snakes don't want to bite you. They're like like if the rodent population got too out of control, we'd have like, the Black Plague would have been nothing. If they had no predators, we'd be super dead. Snakes are the one thing that takes them out. They're like possibly a part of our evolution. So that's a very earthy, organic-y, ancient, pagan-y, non-monotheistic religion thing to respect snakes. So they became a weird metaphor for we drive the snakes out. So there's this thing where people that's why Alexis is like, Happy All Snakes Day. People are kind of it's like Indigenous Peoples Day. It's just like, you know, this is bullshit, right? This was just about kicking out pagans and spreading Christianity. So we're like, hey, it's our snake day. So I'm wearing green, not for St. Patrick's Day, but because I'm a snake, baby. But yeah, they're a very maligned and misunderstood creature that's very useful to an evolved thing like humanity. Because there's things like
cats too.
Cats and snakes and everything like that. Everything that eats vermin like that.
Which are interesting because I hate both cats and snakes.
I love snakes. I'm not a fan of cats. I am allergic to them, but I also am like, I like them when people have them. I just don't
like their personalities. They're pompous. Cats are the most arrogant animal on the planet.
So are people. I treat cats like people. Where 1 out of every 10 cats that I meet.
No.
Hang on. Let me just finish before you disagree with me.
Okay.
Which should be the name of this podcast. But every once in a while, I meet a cool cat, and every once in a while, I meet a cool person. And I like that person or that cat, but I'm not like, I just love
brilliant.
people.
That's brilliant.
Nobody says that. And like, I just love cats. No, you don't. You like fun ones that are really friendly and cool. Yeah,
That's
those
brilliant.
are great.
That's brilliant.
And I've met cats that I like. And yeah, again, I bring him up a lot. Dave Murder's cat Twiggy is one of the friendliest big gray barn cats. He's so cool. They literally have other cats in that same house that are kind of weird and mean. And I'm like, I don't want to be around this one.
Oh, wait, you already got my lighter over there.
No, this is one. Yeah, I got it right.
I'm not giving you a second lighter.
I'm not putting them in my pockets or anything. I'm not a
Thank
stoner
God.
thief. Yeah, I'm taking your lighters. But yeah, like cat by cat basis. But I do, and snakes is more like breed by breed, but they're very individual too. Like hognoses are fucking amazing. Ours though is particularly interesting, but they tend to be a bit smarter, so that is why they're kind of fun. But it gives them a lot of wacky personality traits and stuff, and like they're cute because they have that bone on their nose for like digging. Like that's what they do. And I sat there, I watched her. She didn't know I was there. I was sitting there watching her trying to flip one of her little hides over. She's sitting there with her nose like flick, flick, flick. I'm like, what? And I just was quiet. And she couldn't quite get it over. And then I walked a little closer, and her eyesight's actually really good. And she turned and just looked at me. And then, like, went and hid and stopped doing it. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? And that kind of shit is just really, really fun. And some people are like, what? They just sit there and do nothing. I'm like, yeah, they could be pretty interesting. It's just that some people buy ones that are, like, nocturnal. So it's like, well, yeah, they're just going to hide all day, and you're never going to see them. But colubrids, like hognoses, corn snakes, stuff like that, it's like, oh, they're out doing shit. If you want to sit in, they're in Alexis's office next to my studio, and she'll just be, like, sitting there, like, writing or something, and then, like, they know she's there, so they'll come out and start being more weird, and then I'll come in like, what are they doing? Like, they're watching me. Like, it's really fun. But we're really snaky people. We're very pagan by default, just like, not like, oh, I read this in a book and now it's my whole personality, but more like, hey, it turns out all the things that I think are important line up with this by coincidence. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Like, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Where it's like, capitalism wouldn't work very well without monotheism and stuff. And as a fucking little cage rattler, I very much believe that. How hard are you going to work for someone else?
That's not true.
Oh, it is.
No, it's not.
Tell me how it's not, and then I'll tell you how it is.
Come on, dude.
I know.
You're going to sit here and try to tell me that capitalism doesn't work with monotheism.
No. It doesn't work very well without it. Well,
that's preposterous. Capitalism is completely 100% from any version of any theology.
Okay, all right. Let's look at it modern, specifically.
And you asked me to give you
this.
China. I mean, come on. There's a pious nation, bro.
Are they? Who's 100%. Their god?
They don't have one. That's why I said. Or you're right. Pious isn't the right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opposite.
Very much so.
What is the word?
Take your time.
Atheistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Fucking secular. Technically, we're a secular nation. Even the God shit didn't get invented.
Supposed to be.
No. Even the God shit, because capitalism was invented before we put God into everything. God, the whole Christian nation, America, that's all bullshit.
Uh-huh.
That was only added post World War II to fight communism. That's the only reason we put under one nation under God, because Eisenhower identified political. He understood the political
because Stalin,
equity.
Stalin made it illegal for anyone to go to church under the age of 13, and you know that when you're about 13 is when you form your worldview, and it's like you can't take a person that wasn't raised religious and make them religious pretty much after the age of 13. It's just about impossible, because you can't, you gotta drill it into a 5-year-old that they're going to hell, so they grow up into an adult that's just like, yeah, abortion's bad, and that's just how it goes. But, so they were kind of like a godless nation. But I don't mean all right. I mean the feudalism that we actually are, not the capitalism that we should be. I should be more specific and less intentionally buzzwordy. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, don't apologize. Don't ever apologize.
No. But it's a clarification.
On this show, we don't apologize.
We don't, but only when we say something awesome. A clarification apology is fine. But, so... the way that you'll get someone to be like, let's just look at it like this. Oh, by the way, I always think of that Voltaire thing where it's like, we'll never really have equality until the last king is strangled with the guts of the last priest. And I believe that. And it's like, There is a lot of people out there that are like, hard work is its own reward. And by that, I don't mean like the fun, like, grind that we're on to try to make something of ourselves. I mean that thing where you go to be a greeter at Walmart every day. But the thing is, how many sunsets or days with your children would you actually give up for not enough money if someone else could get rich if you for sure thought you were going to rot in the ground? Or if reincarnation was a thing and it's not, whatever. Like, you can't be an emissary, a boss, a single leader that represents God. I have God on my side, like, da-da-da-da. Do this, do that. Like, if you're like a polytheistic kind of like, okay, well, do you speak for literally the god of the wind? And it's like, it's a little harder to do that authoritarian, weird feudal system version of capitalism that we tend to kind of lean way too close to here, where people are like, yep, I mean, maybe my boss has a yacht, but I'll get rewarded in heaven. If you're like, you're 100% going to rot in the ground and I could prove it, you'd be like, for sure? I'm like, here, I've convinced you. You'd be like, well, fuck that guy. I should be, every minute I'm wasting at checking out things at Target, I should be getting $1 million. This is the only life I have. Hang on. And if everyone started doing that, oh boy, would this not work. But if you're like, oh, no, you know what, man?
Isn't that kind of what's happening now with the modern day influencers and the fucking, in the modern, you know what I mean? Like,
or when the kids are like, hey, work is bullshit. It's because they're not mega religious anymore. It just doesn't work anymore. It's not completely why,
I don't think that's true, man. I don't think that's true. Because, like, as much as I want to mock these bitches, the Kardashians, right? Like, even Kim K, okay, who is the most privileged bitch on the planet, right? Let's just be honest. Kim K.
Her and Ivanka, yeah.
Kim K had a famous, rich dad lawyer. So she already started off in a place of absolute privilege.
Yes.
Then she became friends, because she's fucking gorgeous. She became friends with Paris Hilton, another rich, elite, privileged young woman. Okay? And
it's the elites and the globalists.
They have... That's a great Alex Jones impression.
I love doing an impression of him, but where can I do it but here?
But those bitches, okay, they did understand and see, because the time they were born, the era they were born, the technology that was available, and the options they had available, and what they wanted to do, all those arrows align. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
However, even Kim K says, still to this day, you have to work really hard and you have to work really long hours. Like, it's a legitimate full-time job, and you have to do the fucking work. Like, there is no way you make it in this world without doing the work. And a lot of people are ragging on her right now because they're going, bitch, I know a lot of motherfuckers who work really hard, and they still ain't successful. That's not her fucking point.
Hey.
What her fucking point is with all the privilege in the world, it doesn't matter if you're not willing to work hard. That's what her fucking point is.
But that's a stupid point, because so many people work so hard for nothing.
That's not her point.
Many people.
That's not her point.
That's some boomer shit.
No, that's not.
Like, I've worked hard my whole life. I deserve a vacation. It's like, bitch, there's people in Africa that have worked harder their whole life. They don't get a vacation to Disney World.
So you're proving what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're proving what I'm saying. That's not what she's saying. She's saying, I can give you $1 million. Lottery winners. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you don't do the work to learn how to invest that money, and then actually do the work to not dip into that money, if you don't learn how to invest that money and then actually do the work on how to make that work, I'm using the word work too much almost.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter how much privilege you're given if you don't do the work. Example, lottery winners. You will go broke. No amount of privilege guarantees you wealth, fame, or success.
Why did she say this? Just real quick.
People were asking her specifically, her and her sisters and her mom, the women, it was all four of them, they were asking them about, what do you think women need to learn or understand trying to go into business in order to be successful?
Okay.
And what they were saying is, cut out everything else in the world, all the fucking frequencies, all the bullshit, all the narratives, all the YouTubes, all the TikToks. Do the fucking work. Work hard and work long. Because even if I were to give you everything, if you don't work hard and you don't work long, you will not succeed. That was her fucking point. People like us in our class, right? Because we're not in that class. We're not. We think of it as like, no, hard work isn't enough. That wasn't her fucking point.
Why are we listening to this person? Fuck this whole conversation. Like,
somebody asked her opinion. We're not listening. No. Somebody asked her, and the point.
You give me $1 million and you watch how I do as little as possible to turn it into 10. You watch. You watch how I don't work. You watch how I take that, leverage it, fuck people over, use what I've learned, and just watch me turn that into so much money without
fucking
now I'm smart.
People fucking
We're not
people
fucking
over
people over, but like
work.
the system. Kinda.
That's effort. You still have to think and plan.
It's effort, but
work
the way
hard,
that it's being framed, she should stay the fuck out of this conversation. Because, yeah, I get it. Like, oh, did you know that even if someone gives you $1 million, if you're an idiot and you don't try, you'll lose it all? Yeah. Or you'll lose $500,000, lie about being a billionaire, and you get to be president someday.
No,
it's fucking
that's
stupid.
Just not how it works, dude. The vast majority of lottery winners, they're not
financially literate. That's what happens to them.
That's not putting in the work. That's not putting in the work.
I did a little bit of work to learn that stuff. It's actually kind of simple, but no one knows where to look. I guess it's sort of work.
I think is what you're defining. I think what you're talking about is working smart, not working hard.
I am. And you notice she didn't say that because that alienates your fucking dumb fuck thing that's proud, your fan base that's proud of being stupid and salt of the earth. However you frame it being cool that you're dumb. Like, I don't listen to those scientists. Exactly. I just know that Joe Rogan said. Oh, by the way, did you hear this joke? Okay, I'll just tell it and you tell me if you've heard it before. Because I hate where this is going.
I love this.
But, so, Neil Young, you know, the whole Joe Rogan Spotify thing?
Yeah.
He was in Austin, and he bumped into Joe Rogan in a bar. And he immediately kind of like, Joe was like, hey, man, I'm like a big fan, and I like whatever. And Neil kind of turned and walked away, and Joe was like, hey, look, man, we're adults. You know, all this stuff, I understand. But, like, you know, if we just maybe sit and have a drink, we can... You know, we can find some common ground here, and I think it's, you know, I don't think it's as big as people are making it. He's like, all right, well, all right, I'll buy us a round of drinks. Well, I'm just visiting Austin. Like, what would you recommend? And he's like, well, I just don't want to do shots.
That's Bert Kreischer is one of the fucking
I know that
best
one was
comedians
he got me with that one too. Yeah,
dude.
I thought he was telling the truth that he saw that for a second. And I was like,
me too. And dude, the first time he told that, I didn't get the joke. I was like,
really?
Because they both started laughing super hard. They both started laughing super hard.
And I like her, so that's good.
Because I was thinking way too literally, because I thought it was a real story. And I was like, don't do the shots. I was like, what the fuck? And then when he retold the joke one more time, but he told it the shitty way, the cheesy way.
Right.
All of a sudden, I started laughing harder than ever because I got the actual joke he told.
Yeah.
5 minutes before that, dude. And I was like, this is one of those moments where I truly appreciate actual comedy versus hack comedy.
It's such a well-made, stupid joke.
And he showed you 2 ways to make the same joke. He showed you the hack version, and he showed you what he does.
The organic storyteller version thing. Yeah, that why we like him so much.
And exactly. And this is why I said on a podcast with you and everybody else, I think Bert Kreischer is the second best storytelling comic, second to only Dave Chappelle. I don't think there's a single comic on this planet who can tell a joke in story form
that's
better
that good
than Bert Kreischer other than Dave Chappelle. That's it. Period. It's Dave Chappelle and then Bert fucking Kreischer of all fucking people because he's so good. He's so good.
But that's his thing.
He's so good though. He told a joke that went over my fucking head until he told it in hack form.
I'll give you
then I got it. That's how stupid I am and that's how smart he is. He pretends to be an idiot.
I know.
I'm an idiot.
I know. It's funny.
He's a fucking genius.
I will say that here's where I landed because I think everyone, it's like, where were you when JFK got shot? Like where you landed on when it dawned on you or whatever. Me, you know how you were just like, didn't take the shots. What happened was when I was listening to it, I said it with my mouth out loud. I was like, because I talk to myself a lot, and I was like, because when no one's there, I just keep going. I'm surprised, but I was like, he didn't want to take the shot. Oh, he didn't want to take. Like I did get it right before he went and explained it, but I had to go. He didn't want to. Because it's Neil Young. Oh, that's the whole point. But it was only a second before he had to go and explain it. I still had to like reiterate it out loud. Which, by the way, when we started, when I was like, you don't want to leave too much up to the audience. It's exactly the thing where it is a great joke. It's like a math metal record. And it's just like, yeah, okay, that's for like some people. But if you're really going to be a big comedian, it's got to be for everybody.
There's a reason Tool sells more records than Dream Theater.
Yeah. So like
that's kind of what you're getting. The music analogy, that's kind of what you're getting at.
Precisely exactly right. So, but yeah, it was still like, I don't want this to sound egotistical, but I had to say it out loud. And then I was like, oh, none of this happened.
That makes sense, though, when you say that,
this was a joke.
Like, even because, like, I think the difference from you and I right now is that part of our creative brains where your creative brain is more in shape, it's better conditioned for comedy, so you understand and can identify the formula. So it only took you 1 or 2 seconds.
That is
where
true.
It took me, like, a solid minute or two, because that entire chunk, because that's what my whole thing. That's why I don't do stand up right now, dude, is because I don't understand how to write a fucking joke.
You have to do it to do. I will agree with all those guys. No, I'm saying I want you to do it because here's the thing. I'm not even the same person I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago before I started doing stage time. As much as you think you can get in front of it and be like, no, okay, when I go up, I'm going to be ready. It's nothing at all.
Whatever you're expecting. Right?
Yeah. It's just not that. So it's like,
here's my confidence.
It altered. It's like doing mushrooms. It changes your brain. Yeah. It's weird.
I have one piece of confidence in stand-up. I've already been on stage.
You can do it.
Huge amounts of people.
Oh, yeah.
So because that's what Rogan and all the other guys
always says you got to get over the jitters first.
The number one thing of being a stand-up comic is being comfortable on stage first. I've already got that in spades, bro. That's what you got.
Yeah.
That's what both of us have.
You know what's funny, though?
Zero fear of being on stage in front of people.
And I had zero fear, but still, the first few times I went up, I was like, kind of like, I would like forget where I was going with stuff, because you're like, oh, this isn't like I'm killing time in between. This is like I'm here to very specifically and very quickly get into everyone's brain. And that's what changed me. After like a year or two doing that, I was like, okay, this is how this worked. And I'm not ever going to claim I could live to be 100, never claim to be an expert. But I was like, I do see what they're saying now. And I never could have with all the explanation in the world, all the podcasts in the world, until you actually are like, oh. And understanding, one of the things Rogan says, like, it's not them, it's you. And to a degree, there's some wiggle room, but generally speaking, you can make people that hate you laugh if you're really good at the actual nuts and bolts of it.
Yep.
Like and a Bill Burr. That's what you have to get good at. And that shit's fucking hard. And that you would start appreciating people like Bill Burr and like Tommy I loved Buns. Him before. I love him after trying comedy. He went way up on my list.
Yep.
Where I was like, the risks he takes, but how well calculated they are, is so like, I liked, again, Dave's never done stand-up comedy. He's a fan. He goes to the Monday night, but he's like, I love Bill Burr. And I'm like, I do too. And then after it come, he's like, I love him more than you. And there's no way to like completely quantify that. It's just bizarre. And if I did it for 10 years, I'd probably even fall in love with other people I never, even people I didn't even think I liked, I might start to like, so I'd be like, damn. They really like da-da-da-da-da.
I can't believe we still have people watching this fucking show right now.
Oh, we've been going.
Dude, we got to wrap this up. I want you to plug all your shit real quick. Where can people see you're doing a comedy show soon?
Yes.
Where
where
can people find info?
So the two things I'm doing live coming up are on Monday, I'm doing the 666th Monday night comedy show. And it's
definitely not coming to that one.
Yeah, it's all people that are talking about the devil. Well, I can say whatever I want because I have the giant, 666 tattoo.
I mean, you can say whatever you want because it's fucking American.
I could do it. I'm an American, you dumb son of a bitch. But like, touch my camera through the fence. But I'm doing that on Monday. It's fun. It's like $5. It's other people that I'm friends with are doing it too. It'll be a good holly jolly drunken idiot time at a comedy show. 90 minutes.
And that's Monday
at Club Underground. It's like 7 minutes from here. And then on April 3rd. The Revolution Circus, the big industrial variety show that I'm like hosting and playing some of my new songs at. And one of my new songs is up on the Alchemical Cocktail Lounge on YouTube. And me and Jake from Blue Felix made a rap song, and we might make more.
Go check that out now.
Yeah, go have a look. I like having some live stuff to actually.
Dude, let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. The reason I want to wrap this up before it gets too late here is I got some shit I want to play you. Wrap this up.
It's dirty.
That synthwave song.
Dirty stuff.
A lot of the listeners have actually heard it because I played it on the podcast, especially when we're doing the sports casts. It is the sports cast
Oh, all right.
I do a sports version of this now.
Yeah.
And
like
it's
the
called the
UFC version.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan's MMA.
Yeah.
So ours is called the Sportscast Extravaganza instead of the Jared Singer Extravaganza.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of using the intro music from this show, the track I'm going to play you off air, that's the intro music to that show.
Okay, all right.
I don't have any vocals for it yet. I'm searching for the right vocalist to buddy up with me because I don't want it to be a collaboration project. I want it to be 2 male vocalists. And that's it. Like, I'm going to do all the music, and then it's 2 male vocalists. And it's either going to be me and somebody like, not necessarily him, but somebody like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Aaron Dahl. Dude, that was weird. Aaron Dahl from Emergent, or somebody like you.
Sure, yeah.
Just somebody with a lot of charisma, incredible vocal chops, and the ability to, like, understand that this thing is not us. We're playing characters.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we touched on that earlier. The fun of that is grand.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
But we'll wrap this up. You guys listening, watching, thank you guys very much. We love you so much. Please like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do. It's YouTube. You know what your job is.
Hail Satan.
We're going to fucking... not hail Satan, but he's going to hail... Whatever. As a Christian, I'm open to everybody's hailing.
You're a Jew.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm a Jew by blood, but I believe in Jesus, so whatever. But if you want to worship Satan, you do you, bro.
I don't worship anything.
You do you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You hail Satan all you fucking want. I ain't judging you, bro. That's why we do this podcast.
That's
this
true.
way. Because like my version of Christianity, I believe, is the only real version of Christianity.
And so does everyone else.
It's a exactly right. But my version is not.
Hey, did you know that what my parents raised me to believe in this weird country on this one side of the planet is the one real one? Isn't that crazy? Who would have guessed?
No, dude, my God is the only real God.
You know, it's not Shintoism. It's actually fucking Iowa Midwest church picnic Christianity.
Nah, man.
Allah, who the fuck is that?
The whole point is like.
All right, I won't say Hail Satan. Allahu Akbar. That's closer. That's still an Abrahamic desert religion.
You fuck.
That's related.
You hail Satan all you want.
I will.
And
I will, mister.
And you worship those serpents and snakes from Ireland.
They're my friends.
All you want.
Yeah, all those poisonous cobras in fucking Ireland. There are.
You pagan
snow vipers. Yeah.
All right, we love you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Send the podcast out to your friends. That's the best way to help this motherfucker grow. If you guys want to show some extra love, go to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive. You guys can join for $3 a month. And honestly, you're just helping support the podcast financially so we can keep maintaining the gear so we don't suddenly break down. I'm always terrified. That's my biggest fear is like the computer breaks down and I don't have $1,000 to keep going. Like I don't want to take 3 to 6 months off while I save up more money. That's why you guys need to join the Patreon. If you guys think this is cool, join the Patreon. That way I have a hopper. We can continue to make things better, and we can always make sure that things don't ever fall backwards. Other than that, you got anything else to say?
No, just come to my YouTube page if you like a lot of crazy bullshit and the occasional real song.
And 666 comedy show on Monday, this Monday, which is March.
What is that?
Today's the 17th, so it'd be what, the 21st?
Hang on. What day is it's Thursday.
Yeah.
17, 18, 19, 21. Yeah, 21.
21st, right?
So if it's 21st birthday, come and get drunk.
Yeah. 321 Club Underground, which is
is that Spring?
Yeah, it is.
Spring at the Spring Street.
It's Spring Street.
Yeah, at the Spring Street Tavern.
Oh, is it Spring or is Spring the 23rd? Doesn't matter.
I thought it was the 21st.
Doesn't matter. It's always between the 21st and 23rd.
Yeah. It's warm out. Leave your house, you fucks.
Come out to the comedy show, and then you guys can check out John's new song on his channel, which is a feature channel at the top of the page. And he's also got the show coming up. Where did you say it is?
The Hook and Ladder. Actually, it's a Sunday. It'll get done a little early, but it's a wild variety show full of weird shit. And if you haven't done anything in a while, it's probably worth having a few drinks at.
April 3rd, Hook and Ladder, Minneapolis, Minnesota, or not tomorrow. Jesus
Monday.
Christ. I can't talk.
What the fuck day is it?
I don't know.
I kept thinking it was Friday.
We need
today.
to wrap this up.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share. You know the drill.